Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto is the son of Pegasus Yugioh. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by HaretaSora and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. The boy, no older than 16, sighed as he rode in the back of a black stretch limo, the wind blowing at his gravity-defying golden blonde hair and sending his spiky bangs that normally framed his face blowing back. His vibrant sapphire blue eyes stared flatly out the window and the passing scenery of the city. He was a little under 6 feet tall with tannish skin and 3 unique whisker-like marks on each cheek. His outfit consisting of a black button-up shirt with the sleeves rolled up to just above his elbows on his forearm, an orange vest, a pair of baggy blue jeans. Around his neck hung a slim green jewel on a necklace as he fiddled with it, a pair of black fingerless gloves on his hands and black Converse sneakers on his feet. Naruto boy, I know you aren't too excited for this, but Kaiba agrees with me that this is for the best, the man beside him said as he rolled up the blonde boy's, now known as Naruto, window. Not only will this help you grow, but maybe find more friends your age and who knows, even a girlfriend or two, he added, making Naruto sigh and sit back in his seat. But dad, do I really need to? Regular school was annoying enough, he groaned out as he could still remember the headaches from it when his dad had made him go through all of it. And what did you mean by girlfriends? He asked, blushing quite a bit while his father merely laughed and waved him off. Oh, don't be like that, this is a duel academy, so it won't nearly be that bad. And considering you were raised by myself personally, that means you should know the most about the game, Pegasus said, making Naruto frown before he sighed and nodded. Fine, I'll give it a try, but does this mean I have to use a different deck? He asked as he always felt really put off when forced to use a deck that wasn't his own. Nope, this time you can use your special cards. Kaiba has been working hard this last month to ensure every platform and dual discs can handle your cards, even the stronger ones. Also, he finished putting the finishing touches on your personal disc, Pegasus said, smiling as he saw the happy smile wash over the boy's face. Pegasus was glad the boy was coming around to the idea as he wanted what was best for him. Ever since he found the boy all those years ago, he had taken it as a sign that his life could have meaning after his wife departed, and that was the role of father one. Oh good, we are here and just in time, Pegasus said with smile as he checked his watch, just as they pulled up to the back entrance to the facility, where the test would take place before the driver opened their door. Ah, you actually showed up on time, unlike arriving fashionably late like you normally do, Kaiba said as he stood waiting for them, 2 bodyguards of his beside him, as the driver quickly retrieved a briefcase from the trunk. I would never be late for anything regarding my son, Kaiba boy, you know that, Pegasus said as he offered his thumb to the scanner on the case before Naruto put his on the other side, unlocking it before handing it to Pegasus. Whatever. I have already talked to the headmaster of the academy and explained things. The official story is Naruto's deck is a highly prototype deck of cards we are working on that we are allowing to be entered into the academy with our approval. They know about you being his adoptive father and being my apprentice, Kaiba said curtly as he looked over to Naruto. You better not disappoint, kid, Kaiba added as Naruto nodded. Of course not, especially since I can finally use my own deck, he said, making Kaiba ever so slightly smirk. I know that feeling, but I told them not to hold back and your duel is going to be a main event, so I hope you're ready, he said as Naruto nodded again and gave a small salute with a smirk. I'm always ready, I wouldn't be a good apprentice if I wasn't, Naruto said, clenching his fists in excitement, making Kaiba chuckle before turning around. Well, have your father join me once you are geared up, I'll be waiting inside and we'll be watching, he said before he walked inside, one guard staying behind as the other followed him. Do you know which deck you are going to use? Pegasus said as Naruto pulled out his state-of-the-art dual disc. The dual disc was sleek and slim with a black body with light gray lines along it and a seemingly gray gem of sorts in the center of it. It looked more like just a deck holder with a slot for the graveyard and extra deck, but in reality it was cutting edge in the fact he didn't need to carry his cards and could summon the deck he needed through completely safe teleportation. All he had to do was select which deck he wanted to use and it would teleport the cards into his deck and extra deck slots. This way his cards would always be safe from being stolen, especially since it could only be activated by him. And think of Kaiba's dual disc from Dark Side of Dimensions, only with a black body, light gray markings and an orange gem of sorts, also no extra shoulder attachment. It will have a pop-out card field placement thing like Excel's discs, but it is super compact in the main part. I have the perfect one in mind for my debut. It should work perfectly, Naruto said as a hologram screen display came up and he scrolled through various choices before locking in his choice that would appear in his disc once the duel started. Splendid. I will be eagerly waiting inside, Naruto, I know it will be an amazing show, Pegasus said before he pulled Naruto in for a hug that he openly returned. Thanks dad, I'll make it a good show, I promise, he said as he watched his dad walk inside with a smile. Well, better not keep them waiting, he thought, heading up to the building as Kaiba's bodyguard nodded towards him. Right this way, sir, I am to guide you there and ensure nothing gets in your way, he said as Naruto nodded with a smile. Lead the way then, sir, Naruto said, following behind him as he led him down the hallway and to the inside of the building to see a gym-like interior. As he looked around, he was amazed at the amount of fellow exam takers around and even some academy students also watching. Please make your way onto the middle of the field, your opponent will be here shortly, the guard said as Naruto nodded and started to walk out, feeling a bit awkward as everyone was looking at him. Up on the stands, a girl rose an eyebrow as she watched the scene. She was what others would describe as a stunning beauty with shoulder-length blonde hair and amber eyes as she wore an obelisk blue sleeveless blazer and a knee-length blue skirt. Her figure accented her beauty as she had a very sizable H-cup chest and what she thought was a plump rear. Who's that kid, Zane? Is he the reason the field was cleared? The girl asked as she was curious why they hadn't brought any other test takers out and were waiting. I think so, Alexis. I heard from some people that he is here due to the 2 VIPs that just showed up, Zane, the spiky dark blue-haired teen beside her, said as he pointed, bringing her attention to 2 immediately recognizable figures standing in the VIP booth. No way. Is that really Maximilian Pegasus and Seto Kaiba? Alexis asked in shock as seeing such a powerful duelist alongside the creator of Duel Monsters together was an amazing sight. Yes, and I hear he came with them, so he might be some prodigy they picked up since they are always on the lookout for duelists, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes down, Zane said as the speaker turned on. Everyone, I am proud to announce that the next entrance exam is about to take place between Dr. Velian Crowler and Naruto Crawford, the adopted son of Pegasus J. Crawford II, better known as Maximilian Pegasus. The announcer declared, making Naruto sigh as the whole reason he took his father's real last name was so that people didn't immediately place him in his dad's shadow. Though, after this he doubted he would stay in that shadow much longer. So are you my opponent? Naruto asked as a rather odd-looking blonde-haired man, or possible woman as he wasn't quite sure, walked forward with a rather odd-looking dual disc attached to them on a vest. Yes, I am Dr. Velian Crowler, acting Chief General Director of Practical Application at the Academy. I am though surprised that I am fighting Pegasus's son as I was not made aware, just told to bring my deck and to duel serious against my opponent by one of Seto Kaiba's men, he said as Naruto chuckled. But that is a very Kaiba thing to do, but he's right, don't hold back against me. I don't like things getting handed to me, Naruto said with a smirk as he activated his dual disc, turning the gray jewel in the center orange to show it was active. Well, shall we get the show on the road? He asked as the man nodded and activated his. Then dual field activate. Naruto yelled as a small translucent blue dome formed in between him and Crowler before it quickly grew and burst out, activating the virtual reality field. What was that? And why has the skin around your eye changed? Crowler asked as he could see a hovering life point tracker to the left of him and Naruto, while he noticed how the skin around Naruto's left eye had become orange with his eye becoming gold. That is Kaiba Corporation's newest solid vision duel arena, created in joint collaboration with Industrial Illusions. This allows for more realistic duels powered by the newest power source from Industrial Illusions, he said, reciting the spiel that Kaiba made him memorize. Everyone in the crowd, if you have a mirror or someone next to you, then you should be able to notice various skin pigmentation changes on them as well in various colors. This allows you to view the duel as well as without it. We'd just be standing here, Naruto said, watching as Crowler pulled out a compact mirror to see his skin had turned gray around his eye before Naruto tapped a button and his deck appeared in its slot and the field where he would place cards unfolded from the main body of the disc. As Naruto drew his first 5 cards, Crowler drew his as well. It was determined that you would go first with a coin toss, so begin when you are ready, Crowler said as Naruto nodded. Then I draw. Naruto said as he drew a card and frowned in his head as there wasn't too much he could do with this hand, but as he saw card destruction, it meant he could get a better start. I'll start things off with card destruction, its effect causes us to discard our hands and draw the same number of cards, he said, before they both slid their hands into the graveyard before drawing the same number that they had discarded. He smiled as he looked at his new hand and could see a much better start for him to use. Now I'll summon Gagaga Magician in defense mode for 1500-1000, he said as the silver-haired chain-wielding magician appeared on the field, kneeled down in front of him. Gagaga Magician. Can't say I've ever heard of that card, Crowler said a bit unsure before the intercom turned back on. That is because Naruto's cards are a prototype set that he has been entrusted to by Kaiba and myself, Pegasus said as they all looked to the glass VIP box to see him with a microphone. He is the only one both Kaiba and I trust with such cards, so do please try and give him a challenge, he added before it turned back off and he motioned for Naruto to continue. And now I set down 2 cards face down and end my turn, Naruto said before motioning for Crowler to go. While I am excited to see what your deck has in store, I am also a bit annoyed at your card destruction, as I had a great setup, but any duelist with any worth can make do with whatever they get, Crowler said with a smile, as he looked at the card he just drew. First I'll activate Ancient Gear Workshop to get back one Ancient Gear monster from my graveyard and return it to my hand, Crowler said as a card slid out of his graveyard before he added it to his hand. Then I will activate Magnetic Circle LV2, which allows me to special summon one level 2 or lower machine type monster from my hand, and I choose my Ancient Gear, 2 100/800s, in defense mode he said as a mechanical contraption appeared on the field. Then from my hand I activate the effect of my 2 Ancient Gears to special summon them onto the field, since there is another Ancient Gear on my field already, Crowler added, as 2 more identical monsters appeared beside the first. Now I activate my spell card Spell Gear. Crowler said a gear-themed spinning top appeared on the field. Now if I sacrifice 3 Ancient Gear cards I control and send them to the graveyard I can special summon 2 Ancient Gear Golems, one from my hand, he said, flashing the one he had in his hand as it was his last card, as well as another from my deck he finished as a card popped out of his deck. This allows me to ignore the summoning conditions, so rise my Ancient Gear Golems. A 3000/3000s, Crowler said as 2 massive mechanical being rose up from behind him. Wow, Crowler really isn't holding back against him, Alexa said in shock as she stared at the 2 copies of Crowler's legendary card that were summoned on the field. It's not every day we get to see him pulling out these kinds of stops. I'm more curious how this kid will survive the attacks, Zane said as he frowned, wondering if he could survive them. I activate Gagaga Shield. Naruto said, reacting fast before Crowler could attack and stop him from activating it to save his card. Now twice per turn by equipping it to my magician, it can be saved from being destroyed by battle or card effects twice per turn, Naruto said, as his magician gained a glowing shield to hide behind. So be it won't save you from its piercing damage from the difference between attack and defense points that it'll inflict, he said, as Naruto grit his teeth and prepared himself for the attack. Now attack my golem with ultimate pound. Crowler said as the golem's fist collided with the shield, but the shockwave pushed Naruto back a bit as he grit his teeth. Naruto didn't care as his life points went down from 4,000 to 2,000 as he was more worried about the second golem and preparing for its attack. And I still have one more golem to go. Attack again with ultimate pound and finish this duel. Crowler said as the other golem swung his fist towards Gagaga Magician, thinking the duel was done, but as the smoke cleared, he frowned as Naruto and his magician were still standing with 2,000 life points. How are you still alive? Crowler asked as Naruto smirked and turned around a card in his hand to reveal a Kurobo. Due to your golem's effect of not allowing me to activate spell or traps when it attacks, I had to improvise with this little guy who allows me to negate any battle damage by discarding him, so I'm still alive, Naruto said as one thing he learned from Kaiba was to always set up a strong defense to survive an onslaught any opponent could potentially unleash at any moment. I end my turn, your go, Crowler said with a smirk, impressed by the forethought as the crowd was quickly becoming not so sure of Naruto and his chance of winning, especially against 2 3,000 attack point monsters. The boy seems to be having some trouble even with this prototype one-of-a-kind deck, Alexa said, as she had a bit of high hopes for the kid considering who his dad is and the prospect of new never-before-seen cards. Wait, Alexis, give him a chance. I can feel something coming on, Zane said as Naruto drew his next card and he felt like the boy was about to turn things around. Oh, this is perfect, Naruto said with a smile as he got what he needed. And now I summon Gagaga Girl in attack mode. 3 1800s, Naruto said with a smile as the blonde-haired sorceress appeared in front of him winking at the crowd with her cell phone spell tome in hand before he pointed to her. And now I activate her effect by targeting my Gagaga Magician, and in turn she becomes the same level as him, boosting from a 3-star monster to a 4-star, he said before the room started to grow dimmer. And with my now 2 4-star monsters I can build the overlay network. He said as Gagaga Magician and Gagaga Girl glowed purple and gold before turning into twin beams of light and shooting into the storm cloud of sorts in the center of the ring. What is an overlay network? Crowler asked as the storm cloud started to turn more into what looked like a galaxy. By using 2 or monsters of the same level you can use them the same way as you would fusion as materials to summon something even greater, Naruto said as the galaxy grew brighter. Now watch his debut to the field and the start of my victory. He yelled as something started to rise from the center of the room. Crowler and everyone else in the room watched in awe as a wide almost angelic type object rose up with what looked like 2 comets orbiting it. Now awaken number 39. Utopia. Rank 4 2500 2000, Naruto commanded, and the object opened up and transformed into a white and gold mechanical winged human, the number 39 present on his shoulder in red lettering, with the same comets orbiting around its body. Naruto was thankful for remembering to wear his gloves as they were able to hide the glowing number that matched Utopia's on the back of his hand. Wow. Did you see that manjum? A boy in a blue uniform asked as the black-haired boy next to him watched with widened eyes as he had never seen something so awe-inspiring or seemingly intense. Of course I did, you numbskull, now shut up and keep watching, Chaz Manjum said as he was silently wondering how he can get his hands on one of these Ziz monsters. He was even more surprised he had never heard of them before now. Well, very impressive, it still isn't strong enough to beat either of my golems, Crowler said, getting his composure back as Naruto smirked. We'll see about that as I attack one of your golems. Naruto said as everyone collectively wondered what he was doing. That monster is weaker than Crowler's golem. What is he thinking? Alexis asked as Zane frowned. He must have something in mind as he doesn't strike as the type who does things without something in mind, Zane said as Alexis frowned and turned back to the duel, not wanting to miss any of the duel. What are you doing? Both of my monsters have 500 more attack points than yours. Crowler said as Naruto nodded. Which is why I activate Utopia's effect. By removing one overlay unit I can activate his effect and negate any attack whenever a monster declares one. And now after that I can chain it up with a quick play spell card, double or nothing. Naruto said as he played the spell card from his hand and a giant slot machine rose up behind him. You see, when a monster's attack is negated I can target that monster, and not only can it attack again, but during the damage step it gains double its attack, Naruto said as Utopia went into the slot machine through the coin slot, the lever was pulled and Utopia and a pile of gold was sent pouring from it, while Crowler's eyes widened at the prospect of a 5,000 attack monster, destroying one of his. Well, that still isn't enough to end me even after you destroy one of them, so I hope you have something else planned, Crowler said as Naruto shook his head. I don't, because I can end you with this, thanks to Gagaga Girl's ability from within the overlay network. Naruto said as the ghostly image of Gagaga Girl appeared over Utopia's remaining overlay unit. You see, if she was used to Ziz summon alongside another Gagaga type card, she can target one special summon monster, like either of your golems, and reduce its attack points to 0. So this is the end, Naruto said as Crowler watched one of his golems got reduced from 3,000 to 0 attack points. Now end this. Attack Utopia and destroy his golem with Rising Sun Supreme Slash. Naruto yelled as Utopia drew his two swords, which doubled in length as they became made of golden energy, before it flew towards Ancient Gear Golem and slashed through it, bisecting it into 4 pieces before it exploded, and Crowler's life points dropped immediately from 4,000 to 0. And the winner is Naruto with an amazing combo. The announcer declared before the crowd cheered as the duel field started to die down, the color around everyone's eyes disappearing while Utopia looking back at him and nodding before it faded, making Naruto smile. I have to say that was an amazing duel, Crowler said with a smile, hiding the slight awe he was still in from being chosen to experience this new monster type. Paired with your written test score, you are easily eligible for Obelisk Blue, Crowler said, presenting a blue blazer which Naruto frowned at. That is the highest rank, right? He asked as Crowler nodded. Then I don't want it. Put me in the lowest area and let me work up to it, he said, shocking Crowler as his smile became strained. But why, you are a prestigious duelist and deserve this, Crowler said before Naruto shook his head. I don't like being immediately placed higher than others, let me earn my place as it feels better for me. Place me in the lowest grouping so I can strive and push for something, Naruto said as he walked off, leaving a stunned Crowler behind before he composed himself and hurried off. Oh my, seems Naruto is the same as always, Pegasus said with a chuckle as he got the gist of the conversation between Crowler when he offered Naruto the blue blazer. The kid is right but also stubborn. I say he earned it in spades, but if he feels like he needs to cement his right to it by climbing up, then so be it, Kaiba said as this wasn't the first time Naruto had refused to be just handed something, he had only even accepted the duel disc after beating him in an incredibly close duel. Either way, I told the Chancellor to keep us updated on Naruto's actions and record every duel of his to be aired nationally, so we'll be able to watch and see as he goes up in ranks, as will the rest of the dueling world, Kaiba added as he turned to leave, Naruto's duel being the only reason he was here. Yes, we shall, Pegasus said with a smile as he had to leave as well to prepare Naruto's living situations in Duel Academy, as his stuff had to be shipped over. Naruto sighed as he sat down in one of the stadium seats, sending his deck away before Kaiba's bodyguard bowed to him and walked off. He though quickly found himself annoyed as he could hear people whispering about him and staring at him before a soft voice stirred him from his grumbling thoughts. Excuse me? See, can I sit here with you? A voice asked as he turned to see a nervous-looking girl staring at him as she fidgeted nervously. The girl had a natural sweet beauty to her with long auburn hair that went to the middle of her back and hazel eyes. She wore a pink and white shirt with a long-sleeved yellow shirt under it and a pair of light blue denim shorts. Her figure was petite with a low B-cup chest at most, as she unintentionally squeezed them together due to her holding her hands in front of her below her waist. It's just every time I try and sit somewhere people say the seats are taken and I don't feel like sitting by myself, she said with a sad tone before he quickly nodded. Sure, feel free, he said as she smiled softly and moved to sit beside him. My name is Serenity, Serenity Wheeler. Nice to meet you, she said before Naruto frowned a bit in thought. Wait, Wheeler. Are you by any chance related to Joey Wheeler? He asked, making her nod and smile a bit. Yeah, he's my brother. I enrolled because of him actually, Serenity said with a smile that couldn't help but make him smile a bit as well. I've met Joey in the past, he's a good guy and a good duelist, Naruto said, smiling as he remembered meeting him and his friends when he was young during Duelist Kingdom. Also I guess my dad is my reason for enrolling as well. He always worries about me, so going here is to help me make friends, Naruto said, making Serenity giggle a bit. Sounds like my brother a bit, she said before two more people walked down their way. I apologize if I am interrupting, but I just had to come down and say your news is monster was amazing, a rather tall boy said, his black hair combed back as he wore a white tracksuit. Oh, it's no problem, Serenity said, her warm personality making Naruto not mind the boy all too much. I thought you were really cool as well. That Utopia card was amazing, another boy, shorter than the first with large teal hair and glasses. My name is Bastion Misawa, it is a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Crawford Bastion, the black-haired boy said before the teal-haired boy pointed to himself. And I'm Cirrus Truesdale, he said as Naruto nodded. Well, it's nice to meet the both of you and please, just call me Naruto, he said as they nodded and chose to sit behind him. And I'm Serenity, it's nice to meet you both, she said with a smile that made the two boys blush as Naruto noticed she omitted her last name, unlike how she didn't with him. So have you all done your tests? Naruto asked as other duelists and what he figured to be proctors started to pair up, the floor changing to smaller rings across the massive gym-like floor. I was barely able to finish mine, but I did a bit before everyone was cleared off, Cirrus said as Bastion nodded as well. I too finished mine but much earlier, so I have been waiting for things to finish. I am glad I did was I was able to enjoy your amazing duel, Bastion added before he looked over to Serenity who nodded with a smile. I was able to finish as well. I had some trouble, but I got through it after I drew my brother's card and it inspired me, she said with a metaphorical fire in her eyes that made Naruto chuckle and smile. I do wonder what dorms we three will get as it is obvious Naruto is going to get sorted into Obelisk, Bastion said as Naruto shook his head. I was offered, but I turned it down. I want to work up to it and really earn it, Naruto said, making Bastion and Cirrus widen their eyes, since if they had been offered it, they would have taken it immediately. Well, that's nice, giving yourself a goal, Serenity said with a smile as the other two just shrugged it off. Attention all duelists. The tests have ended and to those that have passed congratulations, to those who didn't we wish you better luck next year, the announcer said as there apparently weren't that many more tests and they had finished while they are talking. To those who passed please make your way to the shuttles that will take you to your ride to Duelist Academy and I wish you all luck at the academy, the announcer finished as Naruto stood up with a groan and popped his neck. Well, we better head off if we want a window seat, Naruto said as he offered his hand to Serenity to help her up. Yeah, I hope we can sit together on the ride to the academy, Serenity said as she looked up at Naruto with a smile as he shrugged his shoulders with a smile. If we are lucky and get there before some of the others I don't see why not, he said as Serenity nodded and they, along with Cirrus and Bastion, headed off to the shuttles. The ride to the helicopters, their apparent rides to the academy, weren't that long and they had easily been able to stay together in their group of four, Serenity beside him and Bastion and Cirrus behind on both the shuttle and the helicopter. The helicopter was nice and comfortable, the interior more like a high-end private jet with their luggage stored below, while his stuff was most likely being sent express delivery another way to the academy by his father. Halfway through the flight, as Naruto relaxed next to Serenity who excitedly looked out the window, Bastion tapped his shoulder to catch his attention. Sorry to disrupt you, but I was curious where your deck is, Bastion asked as he had just noticed Naruto's duel disc was empty and he had somewhat wanted to get a peek at some of it. Well, right now it is locked securely away behind an impregnable vault somewhere only a few people know. My disc allows me to teleport a deck into it when I need it. I can use my disc to even craft decks and save the recipes, Naruto said as he summoned a hologram screen, getting the attention of everyone around them. Wow, you have so many recipes, Serenity said as she looked over a few of the names, leaning against him which made Naruto blush a bit due to how close she was. I try and keep some things changed up. I can summon soul cards if I want like this, he said as he typed a few things and a soul card popped out of the extra deck slot in the back of it before he pulled it out to reveal Utopia. Can I see it? Serenity asked as Naruto nodded and he handed the card to her, trusting her enough not to damage it since he believed himself to be a very good judge of character. I do have to ask, is number an archetype of Ziz monsters? Bastion asked as he peeked at the card from behind Serenity, who graciously held it up for him to see, while he was too nervous to touch it. Yeah, more or less, but there are multiple other number archetypes with Utopia being a part of the main series that consists of 100 number cards, Naruto said, as honestly telling them wouldn't reveal much about them other than the amount he had. There are 100 of them. What does number 100 look like? Cirrus asked excitedly as he too was able to look at Utopia due to Serenity, turning it his way after Bastion was done. You'll have to wait and see as I'll be summoning more than just Utopia in my duels, Naruto said with a smirk before he accepted Utopia back and sent it back to his other cards. Though I guess he'd be my signature card if I had to label one as such, Naruto added as he just felt a bond with Utopia most of all. Well, that is quite promising, Bastion said as he leaned back in his seat and they enjoyed the rest of the flight before they arrived at Duel Academy. Alright, students, report to the assignment officers, they will direct you to where to get your uniform and places to change into them. Don't dawdle as the opening ceremony is soon and your dorm's welcome dinners are all tonight. What Naruto figured to be a student from Obelisk said as they filed out from the helicopters. I'll see you all at the opening ceremony, I guess, Naruto said, as due to their last names they had to split apart. Sounds reasonable, Bastion said as the others nodded and walked off. The line for the C last names weren't too long and his jacket, just like he had requested with Crowler, was Slifer red. They had also given him a pair of dark gray jeans, black boots, and a gray undershirt, as well as a PTA. He didn't spend long getting changed, handing his old clothes to an attendant who told him that they would deliver it to his assigned room. He chose to keep his jacket open, while he quickly noticed his was different than the other Slifer red students. His, like Obelisk blue coats, had coattails, making him wonder why. Hey, why is my coat different? He asked as he cut a bit in front of the line to the person who gave him his uniform. Oh, that was a personal request from your father, and considering who he is we couldn't deny it, the woman said as Naruto sighed. Of course it was him, I swear he loves theatrics like this, Naruto grumbled as he walked off, but figured it wouldn't be his dad if he wasn't like this. He was just thankful they weren't starched to hell to keep them flared out like Kaiba's coat was. As he made his way towards the main gym he was stopped by a woman in a dark red coat, much darker than the Slifer red, and more so being maroon, looked at him as she pushed up the glasses that rested on her nose. You're Naruto Crawford, correct? She asked as Naruto nodded. Then please come with me, the Chancellor wishes to speak with you beforehand. Do not worry, you won't be late for the opening speech, she added as Naruto frowned but nodded, motioning to lead on. Once they arrived at the Chancellor's office she motioned for him to head in as she seemingly was to wait outside. Ah, Naruto, I am Chancellor Shepard, sorry to call you here like this, the Chancellor said as Naruto waved off the worry of the friendly-looking adult. Don't worry about it, better than over the intercom system I guess, he joked, making the man chuckle and nod. I called you here as your father and future employer both said I can rely on you concerning sensitive matters, that you would be able to look into them and help with them, the Chancellor said as Naruto frowned a bit but nodded. I guess, depends on what it is, Naruto said, not sure what his dad and Kaiba signed him up for, but knowing them they wouldn't purposefully put him in over his head. I have sent over the decrypted file to your PDA, and I also gave you a clearance level equal to mine installed on it under your bio, so if you ever need to use it while investigating feel free to use it, Chancellor said with a smile as Naruto frowned a bit but shrugged his shoulders. Sure, guess I'll read over what it is about and keep my eye out and feelers out for anything weird. I'll try not to abuse the pass, he said as he patted his PDA that was clipped onto his waist. If that is all, am I allowed to go? He asked as the Chancellor nodded. Of course, if you need to see me just speak to my secretary, the woman who brought you here, and she'll let you in. She should be easy to find as we both wear the same colored jacket, he said as he pointed to his similar maroon colored jacket. I do hope you enjoy your time at the academy, Chancellor added as Naruto nodded before leaving the room. As he arrived in the main gym he had made it just in time to catch the Chancellor's greeting to the students. Thankfully from his message and from meeting him in person the man seemed nice, so that was a massive plus of being here. Once the greeting was done, ending with him telling them to visit their assigned dorms, he was quickly able to find Serenity and Cirrus. Serenity had mainly changed her pink vest for a red Slifer vest that she kept open and a pair of black shorts to replace her jean shorts, while Cirrus had gone full regulation uniform with a yellow undershirt. Wow, you were given a really fancy looking jacket, Cirrus said in awe as Naruto chuckled and rubbed the back of his neck. Blame my dad, he felt this kind would suit me best. Looks like you two are in Slifer as well, Naruto said as they nodded before Bastion walked up. And I am the only one of us four in Ra, though technically we have someone meant to be an obelisk among us, Bastion said as Naruto shrugged his shoulders. If I'm meant to be in there I'll move up the ranks naturally, for now I'm more than content with Slifer, Naruto said with a shrug of his shoulders before he pulled out his PDA after all of theirs chimed. Seems like we have free time until our dorm's welcome dinner. We should probably go check ours out, Serenity said, excited to see what her dorm would be. See you all later then, Bastion said with a smile as they nodded and watched him leave. Well, shall we? Naruto said as Serenity and Cirrus nodded. Yeah. I'm super excited to see what it looks like, Cirrus said with enthusiasm that made Naruto chuckle and pat him on the back for. That's the spirit. Now let's go check it out, Naruto said as, with the use of the map installed on their PDAs, they eventually came to the Slifer dorms. The dorms themselves didn't look that bad, as to Naruto it reminded him of a 3-story apartment complex. It did look somewhat beat up, but not nearly as bad as he was expecting. 3. Is the Slifer Red dorm the only ones that suck? Cirrus asked as Naruto frowned. I don't think they suck, they are just more minimalist, which I like. What about you, Serenity? What do you think of it? Naruto asked as he looked to the girl of their group. I like it, it seems nice and cozy, she said with a sweet smile, making a woman laugh. Aw, good to see we finally got a girl this year, a woman said as she stepped towards them from her place of sitting at the base of the stairs. The woman was easily late 20s early 30s with long black hair that reached her mid-back and blue eyes. She, like him, wore a long version of a Slifer red coat, but hers had a solid trench coat-like back to it compared to his coattails, along with a red skirt and red-heeled boots that went up to her ankles. My name is Midori Hibiki, you can call me Ms. Hibiki, and for your time in Slifer dorm, I will be your dorm leader and headmaster. I welcome you to Slifer Red dorm, she said with a smile as Naruto held his hand out to her. Nice to meet you, Ms. Hibiki, I look forward to being in your care, Naruto said as Midori shook his hand with a smile. Ah, Naruto Crawford, the only ever person to request to be in Slifer Red. I look forward to see how you shake things up, as I watched your test and was thoroughly impressed, she said as she looked behind him with a smile. Don't be afraid, I don't bite, she teased as Serenity giggled and nodded. It's nice to meet you too, Ms. Hibiki, I'm Serenity Wheeler, she said as Cirrus nodded along with a smile. And I'm Cirrus Truesdale, he said as she smiled and shook both their hands. Nice to meet you both as well, now, let's see what rooms you will be staying in, she said as she picked up a clipboard that was sitting on the stairs. You should all know girls stay on the 3rd floor with only myself and now Serenity being up there. You can visit up there, but there is a curfew of when you are no longer allowed up there. Boys get 2nd and 1st floor with the building attached used for breakfast and dinner, considering lunch is served at the school, she said, going into a more serious mode as she explained things. For Serenity, you can choose whichever room you like other than the room on the farthest left when facing the building, as that is mine. Cirrus, I have you in room 204 and Naruto room 205 at the end. Cirrus, you have a roommate, a 2nd-year freshman named Hayato Mida, she said, looking up from her clipboard. Both of your stuff have already been moved into your room, so go on and check them out. Here are the keys, she added with a smile as she handed them their keys and handed a ring of keys to Serenity. Whichever room you choose, just take the key off and put the rest around my room's doorknob, she said as the 3 of them hurried off to check out their rooms. Naruto honestly liked his room as it had a nice-size queen-size triple bunk bed, a pair of desks side by side, and even a stove and sink along with a closet. It gave him a nice homey feeling, and compared to everything he was used to, it felt like a breath of fresh air. He smiled as he saw a picture of him and his dad on his desk, as well as one of him with the finalists of Duelist Kingdom when he was young. He also noticed some boxes in his room, most likely things sent over by his father for his stay here at the academy. He was brought out of his thoughts as a knocking came at his door. Can I come in, Naruto? Serenity asked as he opened the door for her to see her and Cirrus smiling at him. Sure, come on in, did you decide on a room? Naruto asked as they walked in. Yeah, I ended up choosing the one above yours. I'll try and be quiet when moving around, she said before he waved it off with a smile. Whoa. No way. Is that you with the finalists of Duelist Kingdom? Cirrus asked in shock as he noticed the photo on his desk. Yeah. I met them all and a lot of other duelists during Duelist Kingdom since my dad had it going on his private island. It was also where I met Kaiba for the first time, Naruto said as he remembered running into the slightly rougher around the edges Kaiba from back then. That is so cool. Not only was your entrance exam duel amazing and we are in the same dorm, but we are even neighbors. This is so cool. Do you mind if I maybe could call you bro? Cirrus asked as Naruto rubbed the back of his neck, a bit embarrassed as Serenity's giggling didn't make it easier. Sure. He said unsure before he cleared his throat. But enough about that, we still have an island to explore, don't we? How did it go with your roommate? Naruto asked as he changed the subject since while he was the only person staying in his room, Cirrus had a roommate in his. He seems nice, a bit grumpy and sullen, but I think he's nice, Cirrus said as Naruto nodded. I'll have to introduce myself later, but for now I want to check out the school's duel fields, considering they are supposed to be top of the line. We should be able to easily make it back by dinner, Naruto said as Cirrus and Serenity nodded. The school, while massive on the inside, was even bigger on the inside. They were lost for a hole before they somewhat got their bearings. I think the closest duel field is this way, Naruto said as they wandered in to see two obelisk blue students standing on the field. Naruto let out an impressed whistle as he recognized the dual field model that was installed. They really have upgraded everything, haven't they? These will be fun to duel on, Naruto said. As well, the academy discs were easily able to create powerful holograms, the dual fields amplified them even more so to make it more immersive. Yeah, I don't even recognize this model of dual field, it really must be state of the art, Sira said as he stared in awe at the field before them, as Serenity just giggled a bit at the both of them. Hey, this is Obelisk Blue's dual field, Slifers aren't allowed in here, one student said, making Sirius and Serenity frown a bit. I'm sorry, we were just looking around, Serenity said with a frown as they glared at them before they widened their eyes as they got a clear look at Naruto. Wait, you're Naruto Crawford. The other obelisk said as Naruto nodded. Yeah, and are you saying this is an obelisk-only dual field? Naruto asked as he turned around to see a plaque with Obelisk's head on it. I hope the other fields are this well equipped. I think we can drop by Slifer's field and still have enough time, but we might need to hurry, Naruto said as they turned to leave before someone dropped down from above behind him. Wait. I've wanted to talk with you since I saw your duel, a voice said as Naruto turned around to see a boy his age with spiky black hair as he wore an obelisk blue jacket. The name is Chaz Manjum, if you want to use our dual field, then feel free to if it's in a duel against me, he said with a smirk as he crossed his arms and looked him over. I'm awfully interested in those Ziz monsters and how I can get my hands on some, he said with a smirk, making Naruto frown as the kid screamed, rich prick. Really? You guys really don't have time for a duel, considering our welcome dinners at the dorms are soon, a girl's voice said as the two other obelisk blue students parted to reveal a girl with blonde hair frowning at them as she crossed her arms and walked forward. Naruto, as much as he was embarrassed to admit, couldn't help but stare at her, the girl who had walked over to them. She was an obelisk blue student and rather beautiful with an amazing figure, not that he stared at it too much. I doubt you want to be late to your dorm's dinner given Crowler's strict order not to be late, she said, making Chaz frown and slightly glare at her. Fine, whatever. We'll have to talk later for sure, Crawford, Chaz said as he and the two others walked past them, Serenity and Sirius moving beside him as they glared at them. Sorry about Chaz, he, like many other obelisks, are very interested in you after your duel with Crowler and your refusal to be put in obelisk. I would watch out for them though, as Chaz and his group like to intimidate others and they tend to be the handful of obelisk blues that look down on Slifers and raw students, the girl said with a slight frown before she held out her hand and smiled at them. I'm Alexis Rhodes, it's nice to meet all of you, she said as Naruto nodded. Nice to meet you too, these are my friends Sirius and Serenity, Naruto said as the two of them smiled and waved at her. It's very nice to meet you, Serenity said as Sirius just blushed and nodded along. It's nice to meet the two of you as well, but you all should probably head back to your dorm as well, so you won't be late, she said as Naruto nodded, frowning as he looked at the time. Yeah, we really should be going, it was nice to meet you, Alexis. Maybe we'll see each other again soon, he said as she smiled and crossed her arms again. I'm sure we will, Alexis said as she watched them run off to their dorm. They were easily able to make it there in time, and as the dinner started, he couldn't help but smile, as well not as fancy as he figured the other dorms' feasts to be. He found their meal reminded him more of a normal family dinner of what looked to be a nice serving of grilled salmon, a few pieces of tempura fried shrimp, nice sized bowl of rice, and a tasty looking soup. All in all, it gave him a homey feeling that he enjoyed. Now before you all complain about your meal, I chose this to make us feel closer, Midori said as she smiled at them all. I want you to feel like a family while you all are staying here. I know others might look down on you, but you mustn't look down on yourself, she said as she stepped out, walking down the middle row between the tables. You see, you get the opportunity to start from the bottom and rise up, growing and getting stronger with a target in mind. Plus not only that, but you get to learn the aspect of Slifer Red, she said as she pointed to her jacket with a smile. All Slifer Red students have determination. You all are the underdogs, and you will learn to persevere in your duels and show everyone Slifers aren't the bottom, but a fire ready to explode. Now raise your glasses and toast to your first year. Midori said as she raised her glass, smiling as everyone cheered and did the same. Naruto couldn't help but smile as he rose his glass as well, smiling as he felt he made the right choice, starting in Slifer first. With a dorm like this, he was looking forward to how his first year could turn out. Chapter 2. Naruto relaxed in his room, looking through some of his boxes real quick to try and unpack some before smiling, as he found various items that normally decorated his room. The items ranged from a starship gauntlet from Duelist Kingdom to stacks of manga and comics as well as other items, all which had special meanings to him one way or another. He smiled as he pulled out another photo of him, his father, and a woman. The woman had white hair that curled slightly at the ends with two long bangs framing her face and an upward ponytail at the front of her head to keep her forehead exposed. She had dark blue eyes and a happy smile on her face as she wore an off-shoulder neckline, long blue ball gown that had white frills along the neckline and along the bottom of her dress. "I wonder how you're doing," he thought as he said it next to the photo of him and his dad when he was young before a knock on his door pulled him from his thoughts. "Come on in," he said before Cirrus and Serenity walked in with a smile. "You ready to go, bro?" Cirrus asked as Naruto nodded and grabbed his bag. "Yeah, can't be late for our first real day," Naruto said as the others smiled. "Oh, were you unpacking some of your stuff?" Serenity asked as she noticed one of his few boxes opened as he nodded. "I got the major stuff like clothes and whatnot unpacked last night after dinner, but I wanted to get a few things out as I like having them out in the open," he said as he looked back at his desk, smiling at the picture he had moved out onto his desk before he shook his head and turned back towards them. "Well, shall we get going?" Naruto asked as they had already had breakfast before they had gone back upstairs to change and get ready fully for class. "Yeah, let's," Serenity said with a smile as they headed off towards the academy. As they filed in they sat in the Slifer area and with no specified seating order allowed for Serenity and Cirrus to sit beside him. "Oh hey Alexis, good morning," Naruto said as he waved to her as she entered with two other obelisk girls. "Good morning to you as well, Naruto, how were things at your dorm?" Alexis asked, shocking those in the room as Alexis Rhodes, the queen of Obelisk Blue, was talking to Naruto Crawford, who had quickly become a celebrity on the island due to his cards as well as him being the adopted child of Pegasus. "They were nice, the food was nice and comforting, and the overall feel of the place already feels like home," Naruto said with a smile. "What about you, how was your dorm's dinner?" he asked as she shrugged her shoulders. "It was nice, a bit hectic and loud with all the girls chatting. The food was nice though, and my dorm is nice so that's good," she said as he nodded. "Well, at least we both like our dorms, let's see how class is," he said with a groan, collapsing onto the desk in front of him making Serenity, Cirrus, and Alexis laugh. "Yeah, we'll see as we have Crowler for our first class," she said before she headed up to where the obelisk sat while more and more people started to pour into the classroom. Well. Why didn't you show up last night when I called you out?" Chaz asked as he walked in, the two other obelisk blues from yesterday standing at his sides. "Because you wanted me to duel you at midnight and that's ridiculous especially on our first night here when I was tired from unpacking the majority of my things," Naruto said with a sigh as he gave Chaz a flat look. "Whatever, I'll just have to duel you later if you aren't afraid to," Chaz said with a smirk before a throat was cleared behind him. "That can be done another time, for now get to your seat as class is about to start," Crowler said as Chaz and the others nodded before heading up to their seats as the bell finished ringing. "Welcome everyone here to your first day at the academy. Today we'll start it out simple with learning and going over the classification of card types," Crowler said as pressed a button on a remote, turning the smart board behind him on and showing the words monster, trap, and spell on it with lines under each. "Now let's see, does anyone here think they can name them all in one go?" Crowler asked as a few people raised their hands before he looked up to the obelisk section and pointed to one of them. "Yes, Ms. Rhodes, why don't you give it a shot," he said as she stood up and cleared her throat. "Well, with monster cards there are regular monsters, effect monsters, fusion monsters, and ritual monsters. For trap cards there are normal, counter, and continuous traps. With spells there are normal, continuous, equip, quick play, ritual, and field," she said as Crowler smiled. "Excellent, as expected from an obelisk blue like yourself," Crowler said before he held up one finger. "You did though leave out one kind of monster, the new kind," he said before pointing to Naruto's Ziz monsters, he added as Naruto nodded. "So Naruto, do you think you could tell us a bit about Ziz monsters?" Crowler asked as everyone quickly got interested to learn more about the new monsters and how they worked. "Yeah, little bro, why don't you tell the class," a woman's voice said as everyone turned their head to see someone leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed under her rather large chest as she smiled towards Naruto. "Murahin. What are you doing here?" Naruto stuttered out as he watched his older sister walk in. Her outfit had changed from the fancy dresses she normally wore to a white button-up shirt that had the first two buttons undone, a dark blue vest that buttoned under her breasts, a blue pencil skirt, and blue-heeled ankle-high boots. Her outfit was finished off with an obelisk blue jacket, similar to Ms. Hibiki's, only Murahin's was open. "What and miss my little Naru's first day at school?" "No siree, neither our father nor I would allow that," she said as she walked in before leaning over at his desk and playfully pinching his cheek. "So I contacted the school first thing and they hired me on the spot and here I am," she said as the whole class was confused at first before the puzzle pieced together for them. "No way. You're Murahin Crawford, the famous painter and dual card artist," one raw student said as she smiled and nodded. "You're correct, and from today on I am also your special summon teacher, considering, other than my little brother here, I am the only one who has Ziz monsters," she said as she ruffled Naruto's hair. "So go on little bro, tell the class about Ziz monsters," Murahin said as she moved over besides Crowler and pulled out a video camera. Really, you're recording this? Naruto asked. He was already embarrassed enough by her pinching his cheek and ruffling his hair. Of course. Dad wants to see this as well, no doubt. So get up in front of the class and tell everyone, she said as he groaned and stood up, walking to the front as he could feel his ears burning from embarrassment. He might be fine in front of a crowd most of the time, but he, like many others, didn't like public speaking like this. His monsters, like I said in my duel against Crowler, are like fusion monsters in the aspect that you need to use other monsters to summon and make them. Though unlike fusion, which requires specific cards, Ziz only requires monsters of the same level, for the most part only requiring 2 or 3, Naruto said, trying to ignore his sister, giving him a thumbs up with a smile. The monsters then stick around on the field but are put on top of one another, with the Ziz monster on top of them, and the Ziz monster uses those monsters as overlay units. Overlay units can be used to activate Ziz monsters' effects or power them up if the monster has an ability where it gets stronger with units attached. There are even monsters, like my Gagaga girl, who add an extra ability to the Ziz monster it's attached to if used a certain way, Naruto said as he cleared his throat. Also, Ziz monsters don't have level but rank instead, so cards like Burden of the Mighty won't affect Ziz monsters, he added before he was surprised as several hands rose up in the air. Why yes? He asked, pointing to one of them as an obelisk blue student stood up. Are there any Ziz monsters that require 5 monsters? They asked as Naruto shook his head. Well, 5 is more of an optional thing for one number of mine, whose effect differs by how many overlay units attached. There are some that require 4, but they are normally harder to summon as they are higher rank, he said as he pointed to the next student, a boy from Ra. Do all of them require monsters of the same level, or can they be monsters of the same types, he asked, as Naruto shook his hand in a so-so kind of way. They all require monsters of the same level, but some step it up needing a specific level paired with attribute or type, or even both, Naruto said as even more hands rose up. Okay, I think that is enough, Crowler said stepping in before he lost the class entirely. Thank you Naruto for giving us a lesson about Ziz monsters, you may sit down now, he said, making Naruto sigh in relief and sit back down in his seat while his sister closed her camera. Now today I want to start off with spell cards, Crowler said, turning back on the smartboard and hitting a button to show a blank spell card. How about you? Mr. Truesdale, can you tell us what field spells does? He asked as Sierra stood up and frowned. Well, field SP spells they Sierra stuttered before some people at the topish row started laughing. Come on. Even a kindergartner knows something like that. They yelled as other obelisks, as Naruto turned to see who it was, started laughing, making Sirius frown and look down at his feet. Forget them, Sirius, not everyone is good at public speaking. Try and say it when you are staring down at your feet, Naruto said as that could be a good place to start at least. Sirius nodded, swallowing a lump in his throat as he stared at his feet. Field spells do as they state and affect the field of the duel, giving its controller or opponent special abilities to use or powers up their monsters, and even weakens others, Sirius answered, still having some nerves, but was able to get out the answer. Very good, Sirius, was it? Murahin said with a smile as Sirius looked to her, a blush on his face as he nodded. You did well despite your nervousness, she said, making him smile before he sat back down. Yes, it was adequate, now let us continue our lesson, Crowler said with a slight frown as he continued the class. As class ended, Naruto was quickly entrapped in a hug from his sister, which involved his head being squished against her chest while she pet his head. I am so excited to be able to see my precious little Naru and be a part of his school life. Though I am upset you didn't go to Obelisk so I could visit you easier, she said, ending with a pout as he sighed. I wanted to feel like I really earned it, sis, and you're a teacher, I'm sure Ms. Hibiki will let you visit whenever you like, he said as she let him go, her hands on his shoulders as she looked at him with a smile. Okay then, I'll take you up on that offer some other time. For now you 3 hurry on to your next class, she said with a smile as they nodded and walked off. I have gym next so I'll see you 2 later. She asked as Naruto nodded before he draped his arm over Sirius's shoulder. We have gym after next class, but we'll meet back up at lunch, he assured her, making her smile before she walked off. Well Sirius, off to class, he said as the teal-haired kid nodded. Yeah, and thanks again for the help in class, bro, Sirius said, while Naruto shrugged his shoulders. Don't worry about it, public speaking when being called out in class is hard for a good chunk of people. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. Now let's get going before we're late, he said as Sirius nodded and quickly followed after, not aware their conversation had been overheard. Crowler frowned as he watched them leave, the obelisk pride in him making him upset that someone, with as such promise as Naruto Crawford had, was letting himself be bogged down by the slackers around him. Guess I'll have to do my duty as teacher and rid my star student of his distractions and help him rise up to the top where he should be, Crowler said as he walked off to his room, a plan already devised in his head, and with gym being soon for them, he had the perfect opportunity to enact it. For once he was thankful that his handwriting, when he used his formal style, was often thought to belong to a female, as he drafted a fake love letter with the perfect victim in mind. He couldn't keep from laughing and smiling as he applied red lipstick on top of his usual dark blue, and kissed the sealed letter. Now all I have to do is wait and plant this in that slacker's locker and catch him in the act, and then there is one slacker away from my prized pupil, Crowler thought, as all he had to do was get the ball rolling and catch the boy and expel him. A few hours later. Naruto groaned as he sat down on the benches in the boys' locker room after gym class. Gym was honestly his best subject as, to quote his dad, he had endless energy, but that didn't mean he couldn't work up a sweat. Dad and their gym teacher, Imi Aikawa, or Coach Imi as she liked to be called, was able to work him out enough since, as she was also the school's head nurse alongside being the head of the female obelisk blue dorm. Her knowledge of the human body allowed her to give them individualized workouts to push them all to the limit. His meant more laps than the others. Not that he minded though, as he liked a good workout. So why were you late, Cirrus? Naruto asked as his teal-haired friend collapsed on the bench next to him, not being the athletic type like he was. I had to go to the bathroom. Then I got lost, Cirrus panted out as he tried to catch his breath. Well, you'll get used to the layout eventually, so it shouldn't be that much of a problem, Naruto said as he opened his locker and started to change before Cirrus did the same. Cirrus though gasped, quickly covering his mouth to hide it as he noticed a letter sealed with a kiss sitting on top of his shoes. Is this a love letter? I can't let bro see it, I'll read it later, Cirrus thought as he quickly hid the letter away in his backpack. Say, do you want to check out the hot springs that are on the island, as I definitely want to wash up after today, Naruto said as Cirrus hurriedly hid his bag behind him. I'll see about it. I got to go, I'll meet back up with you later. Cirrus said quickly before he ran off with a surprising burst of energy as he had looked dead tired a few seconds ago. Naruto could only frown as he picked up his bag, wondering what was up with Cirrus, but shrugged it off as he had to focus on his next class. By the time lunch rolled around, Naruto was a bit worried as Cirrus had been acting weird ever since gym class. Is something wrong with Cirrus? Serenity asked as she watched Cirrus wander around, bumping into things as he laughed and smiled a bit. I think so, but the little guy keeps telling me nothing is wrong whenever I ask, Naruto said as he waved down Bastion, who smiled and came over as he seemingly had been looking around for them. One of you should try and calm down Cirrus over there, he's acting a bit odd, Bastion said with a worried frown as Naruto sighed. I'll go do it, he said as he tried to sit up only for a pair of arms to hug him and make him sit down. There you are, Naru, I wanted to eat lunch with you. His sister's voice sang out as Naruto sighed and Serenity smiled. I'll go get Cirrus then, she said as Naruto flashed her a thankful smile as his sister was keeping him in place with a tight hug. Fine, but do you really have to hug me like this? Naruto asked, a tick mark growing on his forehead as he noticed Bastion's smirk. Of course. It's my duty as your big sister to embarrass you in public and shower you in affection like this, she teased with a smirk before she pulled up a chair, sitting next to him as she grabbed her lunch, which she had set on a nearby table, and joined them. Oh, is this one of your friends as well? She asked looking at Bastion, who blushed a bit. Ah, yes, I'm Bastion Misawa. I met Naruto here at the entrance exam, he said as he shook Murahin's outstretched hand. Ah well, it's nice to meet you and good, the other two are back, she said with a smile, as Serenity was able to guide Cirrus to the table without him bumping into anyone else or spilling his food. Oh, and I forgot to say hi to you, dear, how have you been enjoying your first day here? Murahin asked as Serenity smiled. It's nice, everyone here is really nice, and I made some friends already, Serenity said with a happy smile, making Murahin happy for her. And what's up with the little guy here? He looks like he's gushing over something. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he was either confessed to or got a love letter, Murahin said as she set her elbow down on the table, rested her head on her hand, and smirked at the teal-haired boy. What? And no one would ever drop a love letter in my locker and confess their love for me, Cirrus stuttered out before blushing darkly as everyone looked at him. I gotta go. Cirrus yelled before he grabbed his lunch and ran off, making everyone sigh. I swear he is quite peculiar, Bastion said as Naruto nodded. That's one way of putting it, he said as he made a note to look after him to make sure he didn't do anything stupid to get himself in trouble. Should we go after him? Serenity asked as Murahin shook her head. Let the kid calm down on his own, he'll meet back up with you all I'm sure later on. For now I want to hear more about my Naru's first day. Murahin said with a happy smile as she hugged Naruto's arm, making Serenity and Bastion chuckle at while Naruto sighed at his sister's clinginess. Although it was nothing different from what he was used to growing up around her. The rest of the day, after the interesting lunch, went rather well, and like Murahin said, Cirrus did return, but he still acted weird. He though did assure them nothing was wrong with him every time they asked. As he got back from the rather relaxing hot springs as the sun went down, he decided to check in on Cirrus again, having caught the boy entering his room as Naruto was leaving for his. "Hey Cirrus, you in there?" Naruto asked as he knocked. "Come on in." I guess a different voice called out as Naruto figured it to be Hayato, Cirrus's roommate. "Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Naruto Crawford, I live next door. I meant to introduce myself earlier," Naruto said as he smiled up to the man as he entered the room. The man lying on the top bunk was tall and large in the sense of being big, but he felt it was more just big and toned rather than fat. He had a largish nose and odd bun-like hairstyle, both of which reminded him of a koala. Although he wouldn't say it out loud. "Nice to meet you too, I guess I'm Hayato." Mita, Hayato said as frowned a bit before clearing his throat. "Cirrus isn't here though, he left a while ago," laughing weirdly to himself about a rendezvous or something he added as Naruto frowned before rubbing his chin and thought. "Thanks for telling me, I guess I'll just wait up for him since he's bound to come back," Naruto said with a frown as he headed back towards the door. "It was nice meeting you though," he added as Hayato nodded and waved a bit, unsure how to socialize as Naruto left. Where could the little guy have gone? He thought to himself as being their second day on the island, there wasn't many places he could think of. Cirrus, as Naruto worried where he was giggling to himself happily as he rowed himself across the lake towards the female obelisk blue dorm. "I'm coming, Alexis. We'll be together soon," Cirrus said as he quickly docked his boat and ran up the steps, past the already open gate, ignoring the cut chain and lock on the ground, and hurried to the meeting spot behind the girls' dorm. Crowler, as he hid in the bushes in a black diving suit, couldn't help but smile from ear to ear as his plan worked perfectly. The fake letter he had written and placed in Cirrus's locker had actually drawn him out here. He had positioned himself in waiting long before the scheduled time and even cut the chain at the gate so the boy could slip in easier. "Now all I need is a picture and he'll be expelled faster than you can say or revere," Crowler thought as he rose up from the bushes only for a female student to see both him and Cirrus before he could snap a photo and scream, alerting everyone. "See crap. If I'm not careful I'll get in trouble as well." Crowler panicked as he quickly ran, diving into the water as he figured the girls would turn Cirrus in for him, completely unaware of someone who had seen everything. Back at Slifer dorms an hour later. Naruto, unaware of Cirrus being captured by Alexis and her friends, was busy finishing his unpacking his room. Now instead of a stock Slifer red dorm room it looked more like a personalized room, but before he could relax and lay down his PDA started to ring and he answered it, hoping it was Cirrus. "We have Cirrus, come to the back of the obelisk blue female dorm if you want him back. Bring your deck," the disguised voice said as Naruto frowned, quickly grabbing his jacket and dual disc. "What did you get yourself into?" Cirrus, Naruto thought as he slipped his jacket on and strapped his disc onto his left arm, quickly making his way over in case Cirrus was in danger. Thankfully as he arrived at the lake there was a boat waiting for him and as he rowed across and got to the other side, he couldn't help but sigh as he saw Alexis and her two friends standing being Cirrus, who had his hands tied with rope. "Okay, what exactly happened here?" Naruto asked as Cirrus drooped his head with a sigh. "It can either be a long story or an extremely short one," he mumbled as Junko, the brown-haired girl, pulled at the rope lead that was a part of the rope that bound Cirrus's hands. "He was caught peeping after being drawn here by some fake love letter supposedly sent by Alexis," she said as Naruto frowned as Cirrus's head drooped more. "I didn't peep. I came here and then I was caught, there was no peeping involved," Cirrus said, trying to get them to understand. "So what do you want? If you really thought he was peeping you would have turned him in unless you want something from me," Naruto said as he crossed his arms, looking up at Alexis who smirked back at him. "I want a duel. If you win Cirrus and you go free, if I win Cirrus is turned in and expelled," she said as Naruto chuckled, activating his duel disc with a smirk. "If you want a duel then you got one," Naruto said as Alexis smirked before she, Junko, and Momo got in the other boat and started it up as theirs had a motor unlike the one he rowed across. "Follow us, we're having this duel on the lake," she said as Naruto nodded before he untied Cirrus. "I'm sorry bro, you're in this mess because of me," he said as Naruto ruffled his hair with a sigh. "True, but you aren't at fault. The real person at fault is whoever sent you this letter. Don't beat yourself up about it," Naruto said as he tapped his dual disc. "And don't worry, I'll get you out of this," Naruto said before Cirrus nodded and they got back into his boat, rowing it until they were across from Alexis. "Well," Naruto said as he activated his dual disc, "let's get this started. Duel field open," he yelled as the field expanded, only going as far as the river. "I'll go first. Draw," Alexis said as she looked at her hand, smirking a bit at the combo she could already see in place. "I'll start things off by summoning a Toil Cyber for 1200-1600 in attack mode before setting one card face down and ending my turn," she said as Naruto nodded. "Then I draw." I'll start things off with graceful charity, which allows me to draw 3 cards, he said as he drew the 3 cards and added them to his hand, and discard 2 he added as he looked through his cards, smirking as he discarded 2 cards that would set something up perfectly. Now I summon Gogogo Giant for 2000 in attack mode, he said as the massive creature rose out from under the water behind him and stood ready. And because he was normal summoned, I can target one Gogogo monster in my graveyard and special summon him in face up defense position. So come on out. Gogogo Golem. For 1500, he added as Gogogo Golem rose from under the lake as well, crossing his arms and kneeling beside him. Though because Giant used his ability to special summon a monster, it is now changed to defense mode, Naruto said as Gogogo Giant knelt down and crossed his arms in defense. But now it's entirely defenseless, Alexis's monster can destroy it next turn. What is he thinking? Momo asked as Alexis frowned. Because he's not going to keep it around, are you? Alexis asked as Naruto smirked and tapped his nose to show she was right. You're right, Alexis, because with 2 level 4 monsters I can now build the overlay network. Naruto said as Giant and Golem started to glow dark blue and teal before they shot up as beams of light before flying into the swirling galaxy between them. Now rise up from the depths of the ocean of which you sleep and show your shining exuberance. Is summon number 52 Diamond Crab King. Rank 403,000, he yelled as a massive crab burst from underwater, snapping its pinchers, the left one having its number depicted in golden lettering as the mountain of the diamonds formed on its back, shown as 2 overlay units orbited it. Alexis frowned as she saw the beast, but her eye was more attracted to the glowing 52 on the back of Naruto's left hand. So there are multiple number cards, though I am curious why you summoned a monster like this in attack mode, she said as it had no attack points. Because by using 1 overlay unit, Naruto said as one of the orbiting units flew into diamonds on its back, I can swap its attack and defense points until the end of the turn, he said as its diamonds quickly disappeared from its back and encased its claw, making one massive diamond crab claw. Now Diamond Crab King attack a Toil Cyber with Diamond Crab Crusher. He said as his monster quickly scurried towards her monster before Alexis threw her hand forward. I activate my face down card double pass. Because you targeted my Toil Cyber, I can use this card to save my monster by turning your attack into a direct attack, she said as she braced herself as the large diamond crab claw slammed down in front of her, causing a powerful shockwave that rocked the boat she stood on. She grit her teeth as her life points went down from 4,000 to 1,000 before she shook it off and pointed to her Toil Cyber. And because the attack was redirected, double pass allows my monster to attack you directly too, she declared as a Toil flew towards him. And now that she is attacking you directly, her effect can activate, which gives her a boost of 600 attack points, dealing you a total of 1,800 points of damage. She said as a Toil Cyber's spin kick struck Naruto in the chest, dropping his life points from 4,000 to 2,200. You'd really sacrifice 3,000 life points to save your monster. You must have something in store for it, Naruto said as his crab rejoined his side of the field. And you should be worried for your crab and life points, as once you end your turn its attack will become 0 again and it'll be stuck in attack mode, Alexis said, as if she pulled this off she could win. I'm not worried as once my Diamond Crab King attacks, it is shifted to defense mode at the end of the battle phase, Naruto said as his crab shifted and sat down, leaning forward a bit as the diamonds on its claw reverted back to his back. Your turn, Naruto said as he wasn't worried for as long as his crab had an overlay unit attached its position wouldn't be changed, even if it was attacked. I draw then, Alexis said as she got the final piece to her combo that she needed. First I'll summon Blade Skater for 1,400 and then activate polymerization to fuse my Toil Cyber and Blade Skater to make Cyber Blader. 621,803, she yelled as an elegant monster arrived in a whirlwind before standing before her. But that isn't everything as I now activate and equip fusion weapon to my Cyber Blade. This card is an equip spell that can be added onto a fusion monster 6 stars or lower and boosts its attack by 1,500, giving my Cyber Blader 3,600 attack points. She explained as the right arm of her skater became a cannon. Now Cyber Blader destroy his Diamond Crab King. She yelled as her blader pointed its weapon towards it and fired, the attack connecting and causing Diamond Crab King to explode in a shimmering light before the shards of diamonds disappeared. Alexis also was quick to notice the number on his hand had disappeared once number 52 was destroyed. I end my turn, but hope you have something strong enough to defeat my blader cause, if not I have something in store for you next turn, Alexis said as Momo and Junko smirked at them. Alexis destroyed one of your Ziz monsters, are you sure you're not meant to actually be in Slifer Red? Junko asked as Naruto smirked. Watch and decide for yourself as I draw. First I activate a Feather of the Phoenix, which by discarding one card, I can target one card in my graveyard and return it to the top of my deck. I choose my graceful charity, he said as discarded a card from his hand before graceful charity popped out from his graveyard, causing him to put it on the top of his deck before he pulled one more card out from his hand. Then I activate Monster Reborn and special summon the monster I just discarded, my Go Ghost, for 1900 in attack mode. He said as the hollow armor dropped out in front of him before it rose, filling with blue flames and picked up the sword in front of him. Then I activate Go Ghost's effect, which if it was special summoned, it allows me to special summon a Go Golem for 1500 back on the field from my graveyard in face-up defense position, and in return, Ghost is changed to defense mode, Naruto said as Golem rose up from underwater again, them both changing to defense mode. Going to Z summon again? Alexis asked as there was no knowing what monster he'd summon next. Correct again as by using Go Ghost and Go Golem, I can build the overlay network one more time. He said as Ghost and Golem turned into violet and dark blue beams of light, shooting into the center of the galaxy once more. Now rise up from the sunken graveyard you rest in and set sail. Rise and command the sea once more as I summon number 50 Black Ship of Corn. Rank 4 2100 he yelled as the water rippled under them, and they all watched as a massive black ship with a number 50 painted on its sail in red letters with 2 overlay units, orbiting it rose up beside Naruto. Once again Alexis noticed how a matching number, in matching colored letters, appeared on the back of Naruto's hand once his number monster was summoned, but decided to bring it up later. What do you have planned? That monster only has 2100 attack, that's only as strong as my base Cyber Blader's attack, and even if you remove fusion weapon my Blader can't be destroyed in battle, as long as you only have one monster on the field, she said as Naruto smirked before patting the ship next to him. Who says I'm going to destroy fusion weapon or attack Cyber Blader? Naruto asked as one overlay unit paused mid-orbit. I'm going to take you out this turn by activating Black Ship of Corn's effect. By using one overlay unit I can target one monster you control, and if its original attack 4 is less than or equal to my Black Ship of Corn's, it's destroyed. Naruto said as the overlay unit flew into the hull of the ship, causing a row of cannons to pop up from both sides as it sailed until it was parallel to her Cyber Blader. Wait. Original attack. Junko asked in shock as its attack was equal to Cyber Blader's original attack points. Yeah, original attack, which means your Blader is done for. Now Black Ship of Corn attack with full harvest cannon barrage. Naruto yelled as all of number 50's cannons fired, blasting into Cyber Blader, destroying it. And the second part of Black Ship of Corn's ability activates. If it successfully destroys and sends a monster to your graveyard, it in turn inflicts 1000 points of damage. He said, causing the 3 girls on the boat to widen their eyes as another row of cannons popped out below the first. And this now Black Ship of Corn with bountiful harvest barrage. He yelled as the cannons fired at Alexis, dropping her life points down from 1000 to 0. You did it, bro. You saved me. Cirrus cheered as he hugged onto Naruto's legs, who chuckled and smiled as the duel field faded away. I told you I'd get you out of this, Naruto said as he watched Alexis's boat drive closer to them. That was a good duel, Alexis, but like we agreed, if I won, Cirrus here was free to go, and we put this behind us, Naruto said as Alexis nodded. Yeah, and I intend to keep our agreement, plus in hindsight Cirrus was put up to this with the intent of getting him in trouble, Alexis said as Momo and Junko frowned. Sorry, I guess they said to Cirrus, who nodded with a bit of a blush. I still don't know why someone would do that, Momo said as Naruto shrugged his shoulders. Who knows, but this just means I have to keep an eye out for people going after my friends. I don't blame you all for reacting harshly to a potential peeper, but if you want to duel me there are easier ways, Naruto said with a chuckle, making Alexis blush a bit. Well, sorry. I'll message you next time instead since I kind of have your number now, she said as Naruto smiled. I look forward to our next duel since you're really strong, but we should be heading back, see you later, Naruto said as Alexis nodded and they watched him row away, a blush slightly on her cheeks at his compliment towards her. Crowler though, as he hid in some bushes near the gated entrance to the back of the girls' dorm, could only grumble at his plan failing. Even if he got to see more amazing cards of his prized pupil. I swear I'll elevate you to obelisk where you belong, he grumbled before a hand grabbed the back of his wetsuit and pulled him up. You won't be messing with my brother or his friends like that anymore, Crowler, an angered voice hissed out as Crowler shakily turned around to see Marahin Crawford glaring at him, sending a strong chill down his spine. WW, what do you mean? I was just swimming in the area and happened upon this duel, he stuttered out before Marahin held up a camera showing pictures of him breaking the chain to the gate, sneaking in behind the bathhouse, hiding in a bush, and running away when others showed up. I had a feeling something like this might happen with how Cirrus was acting, since it's just the kind of cruel prank I expected in school, but to find out a teacher put him up to it just makes me upset even more, Marahin said as she pulled the camera away before Crowler could try and grab it. Please. Don't turn me in, he pleaded as she let him go and smiled. Fine, I won't, she said, getting Crowler to gain a massive smile before she held up a finger. But. You have to swear never to go after my brother's friends like this ever again, and if I catch even the slightest hint of them getting in trouble due to some suspicious ploy, these pictures are going to be shown to Shepard. You got me? She asked as Crowler nodded vigorously. Why yes, thank you for not turning me in. I promise I won't go after his friends, Crowler said before she waved him off, showing he was good to leave now. You did some good dueling, little Naru, glad you're looking after your friends. Though Crowler might try more things towards you instead now, hope you can handle it all, she thought as she went back inside before Alexis and the others returned. Naruto could only frown as he looked over the letter Cirrus had given to him. The lettering did look like that of a girl's, but the lips reminded him more of a grandmother's. He was snapped out of his thoughts by a soft knocking at his door. Come in, he said as Cirrus carefully sneaked inside, careful not to make a sound due to curfew more or less being in effect. I just wanted to say thanks again, bro, for saving me. I should have told you about the letter as you could have saved me from embarrassing myself like this, he said as Naruto sighed with a gentle smile. It's fine, Cirrus, for the millionth, it's all good. And I understand why you didn't as you were excited and embarrassed about it. I'm just glad you didn't get into any actual trouble because of it, Naruto said as Cirrus nodded before Naruto noticed the time. We should be heading to bed though as we need our rest, as if this was our first day, then it's safe to say life here is going to be a mixture of interesting and hectic, Naruto said as Cirrus sighed as he felt that was all too true. I'll see you tomorrow then. He said while Naruto nodded with a yawn. Yeah, night, Cirrus, he said as he watched the boy leave, smirking as he grew a bit excited at the interesting times bound for them in the future. This is going to be fun, he thought with an excited smile. Chapter end. Chapter 3. Cirrus, honestly, don't freak out too much about it. As long as you know the basics and whatnot, you'll be fine. It's not like they are going to ask you the rank of number 13 or something impossible to know like that, Naruto said with a yawn as he laid back on the ground, Cirrus across from him, while Serenity sat beside them on a chair at the desks. They were all here cause with the coming promotion exams they wanted to get some last-minute studying in. The reason they chose Cirrus's room instead of his was mainly cause every time they hung out in his room, Cirrus was kept getting sidetracked due to various things in his room. But what if they do? Cirrus asked as Naruto groaned and sat back up. They aren't. Literally no one other than myself, my dad, and Kaiba himself know all of my numbers since there are too many for my sister to memorize. Plus the school hasn't taught or asked me to tell anyone anything about my numbers, so they won't be on the test, and if they are, tell the teacher as it could be another weird ploy, Naruto said with a tired sigh, as ever since the love letter incident a few weeks back, they all were keeping an eye out for weird stuff like it again. What rank is number 13 anyways? Serenity asked in curiosity since he did bring that specific number up out of all of his. Rank 1, but that's not the point. Just focus on what they have taught us and you should be fine, Naruto said as he took a sip of his tea, ignoring Cirrus's grumbles as he looked up at Serenity. What about you, Serenity, how are you doing with memorizing everything? He asked as Serenity, while nervous at times, was really smart when it came to remembering stuff and strategies if given time to think. She always told him she more or less picked it up during Battle City and an experience she had in a virtual world, which with everything that happened at Battle City, it wasn't that hard to believe. I'm doing good, I'm confident I'll do go on the written test. The practical I might have trouble as I always get so nervous, she said as she was rather timid the few times he's seen her duel. I'm sure you'll do great, just remember to take your time and stay calm, Naruto said, as unlike duels in the professional circuit, their turns didn't have a limit really, as long as you didn't purposely take too long. I'll do my best to remember, she said as she started to fiddle her thumbs and look up at him with a frown. Though when you undoubtedly pass, does that mean you are going to leave us and go to Raw Yellow? She asked as Naruto frowned but shook his head. I already talked to the principal about it and apparently the promotions aren't immediate. They happen at the start of next year and these exam results are to help boost our chances depending on how well we do on them. Plus I told him especially to wait on any personal promotion of mine until the end of the year so I don't have to pack up suddenly and clear out, Naruto said, as moving out all of a sudden after just getting moved in would be an annoying hassle. Their conversation was interrupted as a knock came at their door and the door opened up to show Ms. Hibiki smiling at them. Sorry to interrupt, but it's curfew, meaning girls have to head upstairs. You two can continue your study session if you want, she said as Serenity frowned but got up. I'll see you all tomorrow then, she said with a smile as they waved her off as she left with Ms. Hibiki. And with that, I'm heading back to my room as well, Naruto said as he stood up and cracked his neck. What? You're leaving me, bro? But I still need help. Cirrus pleaded as he clutched at his leg, making Naruto sigh. Look, Cirrus, you'll do fine. Just review the stuff I wrote down and you'll be fine as I have to do my own things before I head to bed. I'll see you tomorrow and it was nice to see you again, Hayato, Naruto said as he waved to the boy on the top bunk who waved back. As Naruto got back to his room he sighed as he opened up his laptop and opened up the files pertaining to the request the chancellor had given him. Missing students, abandoned dorm, and apparent freaky basement. The more I look into it the more this screams like it's going to involve shadow games, Naruto thought as the list of missing students had finally been sent to him by the chancellor. The name that stood out most was Atticus Rhodes, Alexis's older brother. I need to personally check this dorm out one of these nights. Just got to make sure no one follows me, he thought with a frown as he's been around shadow games and, well, he never liked the feeling they gave off, could identify them and try and steer clear of them. I wonder who I'll be dueling tomorrow though. Maybe I can showcase an archetype deck, Naruto thought as he looked away from his laptop, bringing up the list of archetype recipes on his duel disk that laid nearby on his desk. I'll figure it out tomorrow as I need to get some sleep after all, he thought with a yawn before deciding to get some rest for the big test tomorrow. Next morning. Naruto stretched his still tired muscles as he, Serenity, and Cirrus walked towards the academy. The two of them were relaxed as Cirrus was cramming last minute with a headband that had Monster Reborn cards slipped into it. Seriously Cirrus, no need to be so frantic like that, Naruto said with a raised brow as the teal-haired boy feverishly flipped pages in the book he was reading. But bro, what if I forget something last minute? Cirrus said as Naruto sighed before giving up trying to calm his friend down. As they entered the classroom they were going to be taking the written portion and Naruto chose to relax in his seat before Bastion and Alexis walked over. So are you prepared for both parts of today's exams? Bastion asked as Naruto smirked and gave him a thumbs up as Serenity sat next to him and Cirrus, who was still buried in his book, on the other side. For sure, I do pretty well on tests despite how boring they are, and you know I'm going to do good on the practical part of it, Naruto said as Bastion nodded, expecting no less from Naruto. Do you have any idea what deck you are going to use? Alexis asked a bit curious as Naruto shrugged his shoulders. Depends on how my opponent looks and how I feel. I do want to debut an archetype besides the numbers soon, but if my opponent looks tough, I might go with a deck I know can work all around, Naruto said as he rubbed his chin in thought before Ms. Hibiki walked in. Alright everyone, get to your seat so we can begin, she said as Naruto gave the two of them thumbs up. Good luck, he said with a smile as they nodded and went over to their seats and the tests were handed out. As the test went on, Crowler, who lurked near the door and was peeking inside, couldn't help but smile at the aura of confidence Naruto gave off. With how he was raised around duel monsters, of course he'll get a high score on both parts of this test. Plus with what I have planned to make sure his practical test duel displays his strength, this will easily get him into Raw next year or even Obelisk if I can pull this off, Crowler plotted, as well he promised not to go after Naruto's friends. He could still try and make sure Naruto was elevated to the elite standing he should be at with his skill. Once the written portion ended, the bell signaling the break in between the two tests, Naruto let out a sigh of relief as he always hated written tests and liked practical tests much better. It wasn't hypotheticals or boring questions, but real scenarios that could end up any way depending on how the cards were drawn. He was a bit confused why everyone was rushing out of the classroom like there was a fire though. So how do you think you did? Bastion asked as he walked over while Alexis did the same from her side of the classroom. Pretty good, but I'm much more excited about the practical tests, Naruto said as he was itching to duel. What about you two, how did you two do? Naruto asked as Serenity gave a gentle smile, while Cirrus just groaned loudly into the desk he had his head laying on. I think I did well, there were a few things that I think I got wrong, but we'll see, Serenity said as she frowned at Cirrus. Are you okay, Cirrus? She asked as Cirrus sat up and had a defeated look on his face. My brain blanked out the second I saw the test paper. I'm so screwed, he said as the others frowned, feeling sorry for the teal-haired boy. Well, you can make up points with the practical test, since the academy just got a large shipment of new rare cards. You can go grab some to strengthen your deck if you want, Alexis said, as a lot of their classmates had rushed off to get in line just as they came out. Oh, so that's where they rushed off to? I was curious about why they ran off, Naruto said as he stood up before looking to Serenity and Cirrus. Do you two want to check it out and see if you'll able to grab some? Naruto asked as the two of them, mainly Cirrus, nodded. Okay then, I'll see you two at the testing area since I'm one of the firsts up, Naruto said to Bastion and Alexis, as with his last name starting with C, he was a part of the first batch of people. He still didn't know who his opponent would be, so he was excited about it. I look forward to seeing another one of your duels, as well as which deck you intend to use, Bastion said as Alexis nodded with a smile. I know you'll knock them dead, she said as Cirrus started to pull Naruto along out of the classroom, with Serenity following behind them with a chuckle. Come on bro. I don't want to miss out. Cirrus yelled as he had given up pulling Naruto and instead let him run alongside him. Don't worry, I doubt they'll be gone that quickly, Naruto said as once they arrived at the store he was a bit confused by how empty and devoid of people it was. Hey, Sadie, what is going on? Where are all the cards? Naruto asked the young store attendant, someone he had met before as he had come inside the store a few times on his own. Hi there Naruto. We did get a big shipment, but someone came and bought them all up, sorry to disappoint, Sadie said with a frown as Naruto frowned and rubbed his chin. I was able to save one pack for you, a voice from in the back behind the counter said as a woman walked out. Really Tomo? You were able to save one? Naruto asked as the woman held out one pack of cards towards him. How do you know the people at the store so well? Serenity asked as she hadn't been able to check it out yet and neither has Cirrus. Well, I came and checked it out once I had some time and on my way here Tomo, he said motioning towards the older lady of the two was having car troubles, so I helped her push her car here. I didn't know she worked at the store and when I got here she tried to offer me something for my good deed, but I waved it off, he added as Tomo chuckled. I wanted to repay him, but he refused it and went as far as to help fix our van and even sweep up around here for us. The boy is too sweet, Tomo said as Sadie nodded with a smile. I did make him agree to let me give him first draw trying to get the golden egg sandwich when he comes and he's been getting them constantly first try, she added as Naruto rubbed the back of his head with a chuckle. So Cirrus, do you want the pack? Naruto asked as he accepted it from Dorothy with a smile. Oh really? But isn't it yours? Cirrus said, unsure if he should accept it from him or not. I'll be okay as well, I do like new cards, I'm good right now, Naruto said as he frowned a bit as Cirrus hugged him and took the pack. The first round of practical exams will be starting soon. If you are part of the first round please make your way to the exam area was announced over the PA system as Naruto frowned. Crap, I have to go. Thanks for saving a pack for us, Naruto said as Sadie and Tomo smiled at him. Of course, good luck on your test. Tomo called out as they ran out. They hurried to the exam area, Serenity and Cirrus going to sit with Bastion and Alexis as he, once figuring out they weren't late or in danger of being late, walked out to see Crowler and Chaz waiting for him at his duel field. Oh okay, I see what's going on here. You're making Chaz my opponent, aren't you? Naruto asked as honestly this wasn't too surprising. Well, I figured a slifer would be too easy for you and, with your sister's permission, was allowed to set this up. Unless you wish to duel a slifer, Crowler said, Chaz smirking at him from beside Crowler. Or are you too afraid to duel an actual obelisk, Chaz mocked as Naruto activated his duel disc. I'm not afraid to take you on, Chaz, and you aren't the first obelisk I've dueled, but you are the first male obelisk. I'm down to do this if you really want to go through with it, Naruto said as he selected a deck to use as Chaz smirked. Bring it on, I'll take you down, Chaz taunted back before Crowler hurried off. Duel field open. Naruto yelled as the pigmentation appeared around there and everyone's eyes before they drew their first 5 cards. I'll go first and draw. He said as this was his test. I'll summon Gagaga Girl, 3 1800s in defense mode and set down 1 card face down and end my turn, Naruto said as the blonde sorceress kneeled before him. Your monsters might have abilities useful to boost their levels to Ziz summon, but on their own they are weak. Chaz said as he drew a card and looked over his hand. I'll start this off with Magical Mallet. It's a spell card that allows me to send it and 4 other cards back to my deck from my hand to draw 5 new cards. Chaz said as he shuffled the cards and drew a new hand entirely. Oh, and would you look at that, I activate another Magical Mallet. This time though I'll send it and 2 more cards back to my deck, Chaz said as he drew 3 more cards, one sending 2 from his hand and his second Magical Mallet back to his deck. Naruto frowned a bit as Chaz was seemingly looking for something in his deck for a combo to pull together. Now I summon V Tiger Jet, 4 1800 in attack mode and activate Frontline Base from my hand. Chaz said as a yellow and green robot Tiger Jet flew onto the field. This continuous spell card allows me, once per turn during my main phase, to special summon a level 4 or lower union monster from my hand. And I use it to bring out W-Wing Catapult, 4 1500 in attack mode. He yelled as a blue jet booster appeared next to his V-Tiger Jet. But I'm not done yet, as by removing my V-Tiger Jet and W-Wing Catapult from play, I can special summon my V-Tiger Catapult, 6 2100s, to the field. Chaz said, continuing his combo as Naruto frowned, knowing of these monsters, but had only personally seen X, Y, and Z. And I intend to draw first blood. I activate my V-Tiger Catapult's effect. By discarding 1 card, he said as he slid 1 card from his hand to the graveyard, I can change the battle position of your Gagaga Girl to attack mode, Chaz said as his monster released a barrage of flares that made Gagaga Girl change positions. Now attack with Tiger Missiles and destroy his Gagaga Girl. He commanded as the missiles crashed into her, sending his life points from 4000 to 3000. I'll place one card face down and end my turn, Chaz said as a card appeared next to frontline base. Nice combo there Chaz, but I hope you can end me quickly as with me things can turn around in one turn. I draw. Naruto said as he drew one card and smiled at what he got. I'll start this off with Pot of Greed and draw two cards he said as he drew the two cards and revealed one of them. And then I'll summon Gogogo Golem for 1800-1500 defense mode he added as the golem rose from behind him with its arms crossed. And with that I'll end my turn, Naruto said as Gogogo Golem had a decent attack if it was changed to attack mode to lessen the damage he might take. Your monster won't save you. My turn. Draw. Chaz said as he smirked at his card before holding it up. I'll start things off by summoning X Head Cannon for 1800-1500 in attack mode and use my frontline base to special summon Z Metal Tank for 1500-1300 in attack mode as well. Chaz said as the two monsters quickly appeared on the field. Oh, I know where this is going, let me guess you have a way to bring out why, Naruto said with a frown as Chaz smirked and nodded. Now I activate my Call of the Haunted and with its effect I special summon my Y Dragon Head for 1500-1600 from my graveyard to the field in attack mode, Chaz said as the last piece to his combo was brought out to the field. With X, Y and Z on the field, I can combine them just like I did with V and W to special summon XYZ Dragon Cannon, a 2800-2600 to the field. He said as the combination monster appeared next to view. Really pulling out all the stops aren't we? Naruto asked as Chaz now had two monsters with 2000 or more attack points, well he had a golem that could survive one attack if Chaz actually decided to attack it while it was in defense mode. Of course, and I'm still not done. By using View and XYZ I can use them to special summon again. Combine again to form the monster that will take you down, VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon, a 3000-2800s in attack mode. Chaz said as the massive mech-type monster stood behind him. Now I activate my V2Z's first special ability which allows me, once per turn, to remove one of your cards from play, so I banish your Gogogo Golem. Leaving you wide open. Chaz said before the golem faded away behind him. And now. V2Z, finish him off. Chaz ordered before Naruto smirked. I activate Gogogo Gardena's effect from my hand. It allows me to special summon him to the field if you declare a direct attack. So come on out Gogogo Gardena for 1500-2000 in defense mode. Naruto said as the trench coat wearing shield user appeared in front of him. I won't let it be in defense mode as I activate V2Z's second effect which allows me to change the battle position of my attack target so your Gardena is useless. V2Z destroy it with ultimate destruction. Chaz yelled as the front cannons of V2Z fired at his now attack position Gardena, bring Naruto's life points from 3000 to 1500. As the smoke cleared though Chaz and everyone else were shocked to see Gardena still standing there. What? How is your Gardena still alive? Chaz asked as his V2Z should have destroyed it. Because of my Gardena's effect. Once per turn if Gardena is targeted for an attack I can discard one card and it'll save him from being destroyed by that battle. Naruto said as he showed his hand to be missing one card. Fine, you survive one more turn, but next turn I'll end you. I set down one card face down and end my turn, Chaz said as he narrowed his eyes and frowned as he set the card down. Then my turn and I draw. Naruto said as he got the perfect card. I'll start things off by special summoning my Gogogo Clerk, 2 400-800s, in attack mode. He said as the white-robed red-headed girl appeared next to his Gardena as she looked through her red book. You see if I have another Gogogo card on my field other than a clerk it allows her to be special summoned. And next I'll summon Gogogo Caesar, 3 1800-600, onto the field, Naruto said as Chaz frowned as the blue-haired scepter-wielding monster appeared on the field, bringing Naruto's count up to 3 monsters, which from what he knew about Ziz summoning, wasn't a good thing for him. So you going to summon a rank 3 monster? Better be strong enough to destroy my V2Z, Chaz said as Naruto shook his head. I'm not planning to summon a rank 3, just wait and see Chaz as I activate my Caesar's effect. He said as his Caesar rose his scepter up into the air. Once per turn I can banish one monster from my graveyard and then his, as well all face-up Gogogo cards become that level, Naruto said as he pulled out a card from his graveyard. And I remove from play the card I used to save my Gardena. My Gogogo Head, a level 6 monster so now all monsters on my field are level 6. He yelled as he slid his Gogogo Head into a special out-of-play slot on his dual disc before the icon on Caesar's staff became a ring of 6 stars that elevated them himself, Gardena, and Clerk to level 6. You were right on the Ziz summon, but I intend to bring out a rank 6 as I use my Gogogo Gardena, Gogogo Caesar, and Gogogo Clerk to build the overlay network. Naruto said as his monsters flew into the galaxy in the center in beams of dark red, dark blue, and orange light respectively. Rise up out of your spellbound slumber and come forth from the pages of the books of legends. Come forth and make your debut as Is summon number 27. Legendary Sorceress of Dark. 2, rank 6 2600 2200, Naruto said as a spell circle appeared above the galaxy, Chaz having to steady himself as the wind from it was getting intense. Everyone in the room watched in awe as the magician rose from the circle. She was as much of a beauty as the original dark magician girl was, but her outfit was black with silver lines, her hair long and platinum blonde with 3 comets orbiting around her. Her scepter was longer and matched the rest of her outfit in terms of color scheme. 3. Naruto couldn't help but chuckle as whistles sounded out from the crowd and people cheered at the sight of his monster making legendary Sorceress of Dark turn around and blow kisses to the crowd. So what? She's not strong enough to destroy my V2Z. Chaz yelled as Naruto and his monster waved their fingers at him as if to say not so fast. True, but as long as she has overlay units, her permanent effect activates and gives her a 400-point attack boost for each overlay unit she has on at the time. So with 3 her attack goes up from 2600 to 3800. Naruto said as his legendary sorceress flexed her arms and smirked at Chaz as her attack was boosted. Now legendary Sorceress of Dark, attack his V2Z with dark magic eradication. Naruto said as Chaz flipped up his face down card. I activate Astral Barrier. It's a continuous trap that allows me to change your attack to direct whenever I choose. So to save my V2Z I'll make your attack a direct one. Chaz said as the barrier redirected the attack to him and he grit his teeth and it pushed him back, lowering his life points from 4000 to just 200. Wow, you must be rather confident to take a hit like that. But we'll see if it was really wise to do so. Your turn, Naruto said as Chaz frowned. My V2Z will finish you off this turn. I draw. Chaz said as he motioned to his V2Z. And now I activate my monster's effect and banish your sorceress. Chaz said as Naruto smirked and shook his head. I activate my sorceress's effect which by removing 1 overlay unit I can negate the activation of your monster's effect. He said as an overlay unit flew into her staff, erecting a magic circle around her to save herself from being banished. But in return for saving her the lost overlay unit will lower her attack down to 3400, Naruto said as her points lowered. Then I'll just have to bring her down in points. I activate Mist Body from my hand. It's an equip spell that makes it so my monster can't be destroyed in battle. I equip it to my V2Z and attack, using its ability to change its position to defense. Chaz yelled as another overlay unit flew into her scepter. I negate its effect, keeping her in attack mode. Naruto said, as her attack was once more lowered from 3400 to 3000. You fool. Even with same attack points my monster won't be destroyed while yours will. V2Z attack with ultimate destruction. Chaz yelled as the cannons fired and blasted his sorceress. Now next turn I'll end you, Chaz said as Naruto chuckled as once the smoke was gone, it showed his sorceress still alive, hiding behind a magical barrier as Naruto's life points dropped 1500 to 1100. How? Chaz said as he noticed there were no more overlay units around her staff. Her last ability is to use an overlay unit to save herself from being destroyed in battle, but I have to use it before the damage step, so I still got some damage dealt, Naruto said as his sorceress gave Chaz a peace sign. Whatever. With no overlay units she'll be banished next turn and I'll win the duel. Have fun with your last turn, Chaz growled as he was getting annoyed. We'll see as I draw. Naruto said as he smiled and flipped up the face down card he had set from the beginning of the duel. Now I activate my face down card numbers overlay boost. Naruto said making Chaz narrow his eyes at it. I targeting 1 numbers is monster that I control that has no Ziz material attached to it as overlay units. I can attach 2 monsters from my hand and attach them to it as overlay units, Naruto said as he slid the 2 cards under his sorceress, making her regain 2 overlay units and boost her attack from 2600 to 3400. And no way. You had that card waiting around for this moment? Chaz asked as Naruto shrugged his shoulders. I didn't decide to summon number 27 until I got a peek at V2Z's abilities. I had this card waiting in case I needed to recharge a number. Next time don't throw your life points away like that as now you're done, Naruto said as his sorceress rubbed her shoulder and rolled her arm as if she was readying it up to punch someone. Now. Legendary Sorceress of Dark finished this duel with dark magic eradication. Naruto yelled as she waved her scepter down at V2Z before a powerful magical beam fired mid-wave down. Chaz grit his teeth as the beam collided with V2Z, but as its body turned to mist, it allowed the blast to phase through it and blast into him, bringing his life points down to 0. Thanks for the help, sorceress, Naruto whispered as his card smiled and waved goodbye to him before fading away as the duel field faded and the crowd cheered at him for his duel. That was a good duel, Chaz, always willing to have another, Naruto said as Chaz glared at him and stormed out of the arena. I have to say, Naruto, that was an amazing duel. I wouldn't be surprised come next year if you were wearing yellow instead of red, Chancellor Shepard said over the intercom as Naruto smiled at him as the man nodded at him from the viewing booth. Naruto smiled as he headed back to get to the audience crowd seats before he was nearly knocked off his feet as someone collided with him, only to see his sister happily hugging him as she kept him in place. Très bien. Magnifique. You were amazing, Naru. Murahin said as she fawned over him, petting his head as he hugged her back weakly. I'm glad you liked it, but can you let me go? It's embarrassing, he said as she pulled away with a chuckle as she ruffled his hair. That was an amazing duel, bro. I was really on the edge of my seat. Sira said as Bastion nodded beside him. It really was intense, but you pulled through once again, showing off an amazing duel, he said as Serenity smiled and clapped her hands. Why don't we all have a celebration at Slifer Red once we are done with our tests to celebrate getting through them, Serenity said as Alexa smiled. You know what, that sounds pretty good. I've wanted to see Slifer Red dorm, we have our dinner there and hang out in Naruto's room after and relax before curfew, Alexa said with an innocent smile that made Naruto frown a bit at. Why my room? Naruto asked as Murahin clapped her hands excitedly. Yes. Let's celebrate. Ooh. We could all bring food from our other dorms. I'll go clear it with the Slifer Red dorm leader. We can make it a sleepover since there's no school tomorrow and Slifer Red has a separate floor for girls. Murahin said, seemingly ignoring his question before she hurried off, making Naruto sigh. Oh, I'll invite Hayato to it, Sira said as Alexis nodded with a smile. And I'll invite Momo and Junko. Alexa said with an excited smile as Naruto sighed. Fine, but if it's a sleepover you and the girls are staying in Serenity's room on the third floor if they have bunk beds as well, Naruto said before Serenity nodded to confirm it. If they want to, considering they are more used to their obelisk blue beds, she said as Alexis waved it off with a smile. We'll be fine, Momo and Junk can share a bed and it'll be fun. I'll go get them and fill them, and since one of my dorm leaders is going to be present, we should be fine, she said before she went off to find them. Well, I'll let my dorm leader know as well once our tests are done since, along with Alexis, we still have to do ours, Bastion said as he pointed to himself, Serenity, and Cirrus, the latter groaning as he didn't look forward to it. Well, until your names are called let's relax a bit, Naruto said as they headed up to the audience seats to watch the other duels. As the duels went by, eventually every one of their makeshift celebration party had finished and hurried off to their dorms to get their stuff and the food they decided to bring over. Apparently Ms. Hibiki, after hearing of everything from Murahin, was fully down for the idea as she loved the idea of people from other dorms visiting. She had even offered an extra room to Murahin to stay in and to bring out the large table to lay out all the food she would have made for the whole dorm and whatever food was brought by the others. As Naruto tidied up his room, with it being the destination for their after-dinner hangout, he made sure he had enough clean cups if people wanted tea or cold soda he kept stored in his mini fridge. He stopped his check as he heard his PDA chime before he opened it to see a message from Bastion and Alexis in the group message they had set up, which included everyone coming along, saying they were heading over. Naruto smiled as he headed down to the dining room, slipping into the kitchen to see Ms. Hibiki and his sister working in the kitchen to make a nice meal for everyone, as everyone in Slifer was now celebrating the end of their tests. Ms. Hibiki, Sis, Bastion and Alexis are heading over. Need me to help with anything? He asked as Ms. Hibiki looked up with a smile. Just make sure the tablecloth on the table for food is laid out and tell them to set theirs at the far right end when you are walking towards the kitchen, she said as Naruto nodded before he went to make sure it was on nicely. Bro, Hayato is nervous about joining, can you maybe talk with him? Cirrus asked as Naruto nodded. Sure thing, you stay down here and if the others arrive tell them to put their food on the far right when walking towards the kitchen, got it? Naruto said as Cirrus nodded and Naruto headed up to Cirrus's room. Hayato. Can I come in? Naruto asked as he knocked on the door. No. I don't want to come, Hayato said as Naruto frowned. Why not, man? It'll be fun, Naruto said as Hayato was silent on the other end. I'm sure the people from the other dorms will make fun of me, Hayato mumbled out as Naruto sighed. Hayato no they won't, Bastion and Alexis are better than that and even Junko and Momo are getting way better. I promise you they won't and you'll have a good time, Naruto said as the door cracked open a bit. You sure? He asked as Naruto nodded. Certain, now come on down, the food is almost done and the others are about to arrive, Naruto said as Hayato nervously nodded and followed him out and down to the dining hall just as the others arrived. Welcome to Slifer Red dorms, Naruto said as he slid down the staircase railing. I know it probably looks different from Obelisk and Ra, but I think it looks like a cozy apartment complex, Naruto said as the others chuckled and nodded along. I can see that. It looks better than I expected, Momo said as Naruto smiled. Well, that is a win for sure, come inside and set your food down, the rest of dinner should be done soon, Naruto said as Cirrus nodded. Just set it down on the far right of the table, he said, getting a thumbs up from Naruto. As the dinner started and everyone started dishing up their food one by one, the mood had already quickly rose and everybody started having relax a bit and talk as they got their food. Even Momo and Junko, who were unsure at first of coming, were smiling and talking to some slifers nearby. "So everybody, regardless of your results or dorms, I want you to raise your glass," Ms. Hibiki said once everyone had their first serving dished out. "I want to say I'm proud of you all, no matter how you did for getting through the nerve-wracking tests, and tonight is a feast to celebrate, so relax and dig in. Cheers," she said as everyone rose their glasses and cheered with her. Naruto smiled as he sat next to his sister on his left and Cirrus on his right, as they had formed a massive table by pushing together every table in the Slifer Red dining room to make room for everyone. "So Naru, how are you enjoying things here?" Naruhina asked as she draped her arm over his shoulder with a smile. "I like it so far, the people here are really nice and the dorm has a nice feel to it. I'll have to thank Dad for sending me here," he said with a smile as Naruhina smiled and hugged him. "I'm glad, Naru, we hoped you'd be able to get some good friends here and maybe even find a special girl or two," Naruhina teased as she poked him in his side and pointed her head toward Serenity and Alexis with a teasing smirk. "Do you have crushes on them or anyone yet?" she asked as her job as sister was to tease him the majority of the time. It's not like that. They are just my friends," he said as her smirk didn't erase. "Oh, I've been meaning to ask you. About your dorm leader, do you know if she's, seeing anyone?" she asked as he looked at her, chuckling at the blush on her cheeks. "I don't think so, but I'm not sure she goes your way, sis. You could try, I guess," he said as he leaned forward a bit to look at Ms. Hibiki, who was talking with Bastion from across the table. "If you want, you can use me as an excuse to visit and spend more time around her to try and start something," he said as long ago he had come to learn and immediately accept his sister's attraction towards females, something their father accepted fully as well. She's had poor luck though in the love department, so whenever he could help he always tried to. "Really? You're the greatest little brother ever," she said as she excitedly hugged him, somewhat smothering him in her breasts before kissing his cheek and turning to try and talk with Ms. Hibiki. "What was that about?" Alexis asked as Naruto sighed and wiped the lipstick off his cheek. "Nothing, my sister just got happy," Naruto said with a chuckle as others around them chuckled at it. The rest of the party was nice, and after dinner, they headed back to his room to apparently watch the Duelist Kingdom tapes on a big flat-screen TV that his sister apparently snuck in some time when he was out of his room. It was a bit embarrassing for him as his sister's version had special features of his times during Duelist Kingdom. "No way. You were there during Duelist Kingdom?" Cirrus asked as Naruto nodded as he fought the urge to groan at the image of a smaller him following around Kaiba when he found him during his adventure around the island. "Yeah, it was one of my homes and my dad wanted me to enjoy it. It's where I met many of the duelists who would go on to compete in Battle City," Naruto said as he handed Cirrus his photo of him with Yugi and the others. "I don't understand why Dad had me recorded, although with this a personal version, I can see why," Naruto said, since as long as it wasn't everyone else in the world had seen, he's more or less okay with it. Dad said he didn't want to miss anything while he was busy and he didn't want to keep you cramped inside the castle, so when he let you roam he recorded a lot of it and had a bodyguard watch over you in case you got into danger," Naruhina said as she sat next to him on the floor, the other girls on his bottom bunk, Cirrus and Bastion on the middle and Hayato on the top. "Are you blushing when you met my Valentine?" Alexis teased as Naruto blushed and looked away as it showed him shyly giving Mai a flower before she kissed his cheek and waved to him with a smile, leaving him as a blushing mess. "Do you blame me? I was young, like 8 or 9 years old, and she is undoubtedly a very pretty woman. Tell me you wouldn't do the same," Naruto said as everyone in the room couldn't help but agree. "She is very nice as well, I see her occasionally when my brother brings her home for dinner in the apartment we share," Serenity said as it was a well-known fact that she and Joey were a couple. As he continued to watch he couldn't help but smile and laugh at various duels and moments of his. By the end, as it got late, everyone had to head back to their rooms, although Cirrus, Bastion, and Hayato were bunking in his room with him on the floor with a spare futon that he didn't mind. After everyone else was asleep he couldn't help but smile up at the ceiling as he relaxed on the floor. He could honestly say he was liking his time here and the friends he had made so far. In the past back in normal school the friends he had made more or less just wanted to be close to him due to his family name or wealth. Well, he expected the same to happen here or even worse due to the academy being centered on the game his father made. He was so far happily surprised by the lack of it. The friends he had made felt real and right now he could only look forward to see how things went from here on out. Chapter end. Chapter 4. As he made his way through the forest surrounding his dorm, Naruto frowned a bit as he looked over his PDA and read over the notes pertaining to the abandoned dorm. Chancellor Shepard had trusted him with the info and given him the only copies of the files due to him not wanting to let it be known. I've sat by too long, I need to check this place out as soon as possible, he thought with before arriving at the abandoned building he could only suspect to be the dorm from the reports. I was right, this place reeks of shadow games, Naruto said as he walked closer before noticing a rose left near the front gate. Doesn't surprise me, people are mourning the students who disappeared, he thought with a frown before he heard a branch break behind him, causing him to turn around. Who's there? He said as he lifted his flashlight up to see Alexis stepping out from the forest. Alexis. What are you doing here? He asked as she walked up to him with a frown. I should be asking the same thing to you, Naruto, Alexis said as Naruto slipped his PDA into his pocket with a frown. I was exploring the island a bit, heard the rumors of students disappearing from this place, and I'm not too fond of the rumors of shadow games. What about you? He asked as Alexis walked up to the rose at the gate and placed another just like the first beside it. My brother, he was one of the students that went missing, she said while Naruto nodded as he understood her reason. I'm sorry to hear that, Alexis, I'm sure he'll return safely, Naruto said before he noticed the time on his watch and frowned. Look, we should probably be getting back to our dorms, it's late and we don't want to be caught, he said gently as Alexis turned towards him with a soft smile. You're right, I'll see you tomorrow. Be safe going back to your dorm, Alexis said with a smile as Naruto nodded. Yeah, you too, he said, staying behind as she walked off into the forest before he looked back at the dorm with a frown once she was gone. Shame she showed up as I wanted to venture inside, but I guess I'll have to try again later, he thought as he narrowed his eyes at the dorm while his hand glowed with the number 39 on the back of it. You sense it too, Utopia. There is something in that dorm, something not right. The sooner we deal with it the better, he said to himself, the spirit of Utopia behind him nodding along before he decided to head back with Utopia by his side just in case anything unsavory followed. As school ended the next day, Naruto let out a sigh as he walked alongside Cirrus and Serenity. Is something wrong, bro? Cirrus asked as Naruto shook his head with another sigh. No, just trying to figure something out, nothing to worry about, he said with a smile before Junko and Momo ran up to them, both of them looking a bit worried. Hey Naruto, have you seen Alexis anywhere today? Momo asked as Naruto shook his head with a frown. No, why? He asked as his answer only made the worried looks on their faces increase. Because we haven't seen her all day after she came back to the dorm late last night. We thought she just left for school before us, but when we arrived at school and didn't see her at all today we started to worry. So please, if you have seen her, please tell us. Junko said as she grabbed his coat and somewhat shook him. I'm sorry, I really haven't, but we'll help you look for her, he said as he calmed Junko down and got her to let him go. We'll find Alexis, I promise, okay? He added, trying to reassure them both as the girls nodded. But now we need to split up and go to places Alexis might be at. We all have each other's numbers, so call if you find her, he said as Junko and Momo went off towards the area around the dorms with Serenity and Cirrus checking the school and him looking near the pier. I have a bad feeling of where she might be, and for once I hope I'm wrong, he thought as he made his way towards the abandoned dorms instead of the pier, unaware that Serenity had doubled back to help him out once Cirrus told her to go once they ran into Hayato. Where is Naruto going? That isn't towards the pier, she thought, confused at where he was going before following him into the forest, only for something in the shadows to pull her off the path. You will help ensure the starch child comes to us, a voice said before fading away. As Naruto arrived at the abandoned dorms, he clenched his fists as he saw a Twale Cyber on the ground in front of the front gate with various other cards, almost leaving a trail into the dorm. Damn. I swear whatever has Alexis is going to pay. He thought with a glare as he headed into the dorm, picking up the cards he saw as he entered the dorm. Once inside he coughed a bit from the dust, but he was immediately unnerved by the 2 stone tablets on the walls to his sides. The Millennium items, the rod, necklace, scale, key, ring, eye, and puzzle, he thought, having known the wielder of some of these items, mainly Yugi with the puzzle and his father with the eye. So the rumors of them researching shadow games here is true, definitely not good. I swear I will never understand people and their curiosity into dark and occult things like this, as he thought as he looked around a bit more, looking for the path of cards, and noticed a small picture of a man that had the autograph of Atticus Rhodes in the corner. So this is Alexis' brother, he thought with a frown before he heard a scream, only it wasn't from Alexis. Serenity. Damn it. Did they get her too? He yelled as he ran deeper into the dorm to where he heard it coming from to come to a large room, quick to notice drag marks in the dust and another card on the ground. Cyberblader, Alexis and possibly Serenity are definitely down this way, he thought with a frown before he followed the drag marks to find himself entering a cave that was attached to the dorm. Thankfully though there weren't multiple paths as he made his way deeper into the cave. He frowned as he quickly looked around as he found himself in a large room with strange designs carved into the ground. He though was somewhat relieved as he saw Alexis and Serenity safe, although laying in 2 large black coffins. Whoever did this, come out right now. This isn't funny and depending on your answer I might not kick your ass. he yelled, looking around before smoke started to gather in the center of the room before rising up into a pillar that quickly changed to a tall black cloaked figure with a large metal tube on its arm. He couldn't make anything out about what was under the cloak, but the eye on the hood and the smirk on the figure's face wasn't a good sign. "Star-Child, your power will do or cause wonders. Worry not, the souls of these two are not taken yet, but they will be once you are devoured," the figure said as Naruto narrowed his eyes as the metal tube on its arm opened up to reveal a dual disc that resembled a fin or a wing with the spines jutting out of it. "Duel for your and their safety. Let the shadow game commence," it commanded as they were both surrounded in a dome of darkness. "You really don't waste any time getting down to business," he said as he turned on his dual disc. "But if I have to do this to save my friends then fine. I'll duel you," he said with a frown, having no time to scroll through his list of decks given his opponent was already drawing their cards before he chose the last deck he had finished. "This will do as every deck of mine is set up to work with any numbers. Duel field open," he said as he gained the tint around his eyes and his card fields popped out. "Don't worry Alexis and Serenity, I swear I'm going to save you," he said as he looked over to them before he drew his 5 cards. Twin-headed Behemoth, Graceful Charity, Golem Dragon, Mirror Force, and Scrap Iron Scarecrow. "I can do something with this," as he thought as he turned his attention to the figure and the shadow game he had got himself roped into. "I will draw," the figure said as it quickly drew a card. "I will summon Infernal Queen Archfiend, 4900 1500s in attack mode," it added as Naruto narrowed his eyes. "An Archfiend deck, perfect to fit the mood, but that archetype comes at a price of damage per each standby phase to keep the monsters out," he said with a frown as the figure motioned its hand towards its monster. "When this card is on the field the attack of all Archfiend monsters gets raised by 1000 points," it said, the Infernal Queen's points going up from 900 to 1900 while moderately ignoring him before it took a card from its hand. "I then activate the field spell card Pandemonium," it added as the area around them changed to a hellish altar of sorts. "This field spell allows me to negate the maintenance cost for all Archfiend monsters and allows for me to gain an Archfiend monster from my deck to my hand each time an Archfiend is destroyed other than battle," it explained as Naruto nodded, knowing of this archetype well enough. "But that I end my turn, you go Star-Child," it said as Naruto clenched his jaw. "The name is Naruto and I draw," he said as he looked at Monster Reborn, deciding to save it for later while he looked through his hand. "First I summon Twin-headed Behemoth, 3 1500 1200 in defense mode. I then activate my Graceful Charity spell card which lets me draw 3 cards, but then causes me to discard 2," he said, discarding Background Dragon and Heliosphere Dragon to keep Exploder Dragon in his hand. "I'll set down 2 face-down cards and end my turn," Naruto said, as well this dragon-themed deck wouldn't be his first choice, but given that he didn't have time to look through his other decks, he knew he had to use it to win, which he knew he could if things went well. "My turn," it said as it drew its card before summoning it, and I summon Terror King Archfiend, 4 2000 1500s in attack mode, which I am able to summon due to Infernal Queen being on the field. And now due to Infernal Queen's effect, Terror King gains 1000 more points, boosting his attack to 3000, it said as Naruto frowned a bit at the strength on the cloaked figure's side of the field. "And now, Infernal Queen. Attack his Behemoth," it declared as Naruto motioned to one of his trap cards. "I activate my face down, the trap Scrap Iron Scarecrow. I can activate this card when you declare an attack, I then target the attacking monster and your attack is negated," he said before 6 orbs appeared beside the figure. "I activate my Infernal Queen's effect. When it is targeted by the effect of a card of yours, I then roll a die, which these orbs are to represent the sides as a roulette spinner, and if the result is a 2 or a 5, then the card is negated and destroyed," it said as the orbs caught fire before only one was lit with the fire, jumping from one to another in order. He continued to watch the flame before it slowed and landed on a 2, which didn't mean well for him. "It landed on a 2, so your Scrap Iron Scarecrow is negated and destroyed, so my Infernal Queen's attack continues and destroys your Behemoth," it said as its monster shattered his, leaving his field wide open. "And now Terror King, attack him directly," it declared as Naruto held out his hand. "I activate my Background Dragon's effect from the grave which activates if it is in the graveyard and I control no cards. Its effect allows me to special summon it to the field and also allow me to special summon one level 4 or lower dragon from my hand in defense as well. So come on out Golem Dragon," he said as both Background Dragon, 5 1600 1800 and Golem Dragon, 4 200 2000s appeared on his field in defense mode. "And with Golem Dragon on the field its effect makes it where you can only target it for attacks," he said as he knew neither was strong enough to stand up to Terror King, but Golem was sturdier of the two. "Quite resourceful aren't you Star-Child?" But it will not save you as my Terraking is stronger than both of those. Now attack his golem dragon, it said, as Terraking's chest opened up and a swarm of locusts flew out before exploding against his golem dragon, crumbling it and sending it to the graveyard. It is your turn now, it said as Naruto smirked as a portal appeared in front of him. With your turn ending, my twin-headed behemoth returns from the grave in defense position, but its attack and defense are lowered down to 1000, 1000s, he said as his dragon rose up from the portal. I'll put it in defense mode and draw. He added as he looked at Pot of Greed, deciding to save it until when he really needed it. I summon Exploder Dragon, 1000, in defense mode and end my turn for now, he said, as at least with 3 monsters on the field and his face down card his life points would be safe for the most part. My turn then, it said as it drew and pointed towards its Terraking, attack his background dragon, it said, as the beast charged towards his dragon with its sword. Since I can't target your monster in danger of the roulette, I'll activate something that doesn't target but just works its effect. I activate Mirror Force. He said as his trap card flipped up and Terraking's sword clashed with it. I can activate it once you attack, and with it all your attack position monsters are destroyed. He said before the trap activated, shattering both his Terraking and Infernal Queen and sending them to the graveyard. It is of no consequence as I activate my Desric Archfiend's effect. When Terraking Archfiend is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, I can send it to the graveyard to special summon back my Terraking Archfiend, he said as it discarded the Desric, and Terraking returned to the field only now with 2000 attack points due to Infernal Queen no longer being on the field. And now Pandemonium's effect activates. When an Archfiend is destroyed other than in battle, I can add 1 Archfiend lower than that card from my deck to my hand, and I choose a 3-star Desric Archfiend to add to my hand, it said, basically saying it could revive Terraking again if he destroyed it. And since I'm still in the middle of my battle phase, my Terraking can attack and destroy your background dragon, it said, as Terraking once again charged his dragon, only this time the attack connected. Sadly, due to using my background dragon's effect, he isn't sent to the graveyard but removed from play, he said as he still had his behemoth and his Exploder Dragon. Then I set down 2 face down cards and with that I end my turn. Please do show me something interesting as defensive has no way to showcase your skills, it said as Naruto narrowed his eyes, knowing it was true as now with its Infernal Queen being gone, he could fight back easier against it now. Then I draw, and with 2 level 3 monsters on the field, I can use them to build the overlay network. He said as Exploder Dragon and twin-headed behemoth turned into an orange and purple beam of light before colliding in the center of the room as the galaxy that signified the overlay network took shape. From the depths of the sea this dragon egg shall hatch and rise to the sky. He said as a dark purple winged egg rose from the center. Now take flight number 17. Leviathan Dragon, rank 3 2000 in attack mode. He yelled as the egg transformed into the long and thin dragon with its 6 wings outstretched, while the number 17 appeared on the back of his hand and on his dragon's right horn. The power that you birthed. It is splendorous and will be ours. The cloak figure exclaimed as Naruto shook his head. No, it won't, as now by using 1 overlay unit I can activate my Leviathan Dragon's effect, which boosts its attack by 500 points, making it 500 points stronger than your Terraking. He said as one of the 2 orbiting comets flew towards Leviathan Dragon before he devoured it and grew stronger. Now Leviathan Dragon attacked Terraking Archfiend with torrential fire stream. He yelled as an indigo blast of fire shot from Leviathan Dragon's mouth, destroying it and dealing the cloaked figure 500 points of damage, cloak 4000 3500. And now with it I end my turn, he said as the figure drew a card and turned 1 card to show its Desric Archfiend. I discard my Desric Archfiend to return my Terraking back to the field, but not for long as I tribute it to summon Skull Archfiend of Lightning, 6 2500 1200 in attack mode. But that isn't all as I activate my face down card Archfiend's Roar, it said as the card flipped up. With it by paying 500 life points, C 3500 3000, I target my Infernal Queen Archfiend, 4900 1500s, and can special summon it to the field. It cannot be tribute and has to be destroyed at the end of this turn, but that is all I need it for, it said as it smirked from under its robe. And now with Infernal Queen on my field all Archfiend gain 1000 attack points again, it added as Skull Archfiend went up to 3500 and Infernal Queen went up to 1900. Now Skull Archfiend attack Leviathan Dragon and destroy it. It said as the Skull Archfiend blasted his Leviathan Dragon with lightning, dealing him 1000 points of damage, Naruto 4000 3000. And Infernal Queen Archfiend attack him directly, the figure declared as he got dealt more damage, and 3000 1100. Naruto grit his teeth as the damage shot into him and caused him to fall down to 1 knee as the pain was very real and even caused his vision to blur a bit from it all. Damn, Shadow Games don't hold anything back, he thought with a groan as he forced himself to stand up again. I end my turn, and now my Infernal Queen Archfiend returns to the graveyard, but next turn, I should be able to win, it said with a smirk, as Skull Archfiend's attack returned to 2500. We'll see as it's my turn and I draw. He said as he smirked at what he could set up. First I activate Mystical Space Typhoon, and I use it to destroy Pandemonium. He said as the field around them turned back to normal. Next I activate Pot of Greed to draw 2 cards, he said as he looked at the 2 cards and saw an opening. Now I activate Monster Reborn from my hand to return the other card I discarded with Graceful Charity back at my first turn and summon Heliosphere Dragon, 40-1900 in defense mode, but that's not all. He said as he pulled one more card out of his hand. I normal summon my Mythic Tree Dragon, for 100-1400s, to the field in defense mode and activate the effect of a monster from my hand, which allows me, if I control an earth monster, to special summon it to the field. Now come on out Mythic Water Dragon, 8-1000-2000s, in defense mode, he said as the figure shook its head. Defense will not win you the duel, Star Child, and soon this power will be ours. It said as Naruto smirked. I don't think so, as I activate my Mythic Tree Dragon's effect where once per turn I can target one water dragon type, like my Mythic Water Dragon, and the level of this monster becomes the same as it. So my Mythic Tree Dragon becomes 8 starts and I'm not done yet. He said as he motioned towards his Heliosphere Dragon. The Heliosphere Dragon also has an effect where once per turn, if I control a level 8 dragon, I can make this a level 8 until the end of the turn. So by using my 3 level 8 monsters I can build the overlay network once again. He yelled as Mythic Tree Dragon, Mythic Water Dragon, and Heliosphere Dragon become beams of green, blue and purple before entering the overlay network. Out of 3 will come 1, and out of 1 will come Great Cosmic Might. Take flight, number 60. Legendary Dragon of Starlight. He yelled as a bright orb rose from the center, it burst open, and a silver dragon flew out, rank 8 2800-2200, with the number appearing on the back of his hand and its left wing. And, for all intents and purposes, this is Stardust Dragon with appearance. Now number 60. Attack his Skull Archfiend with Cosmic Stream. Naruto yelled as his monster shot out a stream of light at the Archfiend, destroying it and dealing 300 points of damage, c 3000-2700. I then activate my number 60's effect. By using one overlay unit I can revive one monster that has been banished, but if it is summoned this way it cannot attack or change positions. I choose my background dragon, 5-1600-1800, so bring him back number 60 with Star Implosion Portal. He said as one overlay unit flew into its chest and it let out a roar that caused orb to form, which grew large before imploding suddenly with his dragon falling down from where it used to be. I then set down one face down card and end my turn, he said as he ran out of cards in his hand before the figure frowned but drew a card. I summon a Desric Archfiend, 3-1100-1800 in defense mode and activate my double summon spell card from my hand, allowing me to summon my Vilipin Archfiend, 2-1200-800 in defense mode. Then I activate my face down card Battle Scarred. Now we both get dealt the damage that requires to keep my Archfiends around, and with Vilipin on my field, you have to target it for an attack. Your turn, it said as Naruto smirked and drew his card. I activate my face down card, a Wingbeat of Giant Dragon. With it I can return one level 5 or higher dragon from my field to my hand, and with it, I can destroy all spell and trap cards on the field, and right now I only see your Battle Scarred, he said as background dragon disappeared and the trap card shattered. Now I summon my Vanguard of the Dragon, 4-1700-1300 in attack mode and activate its effect. By sending one dragon from my hand to the graveyard, such as my background dragon, I can increase its attack points by 300, so my dragon now has 2000 attack points. He said as the spear-wielding dragon's weapon grew larger. Now I activate another effect of my legendary Dragon of Starlight, which makes it where if I use one overlay unit, I can temporarily remove it from play until my next turn, along with its overlay units, and destroy as many monsters on your side of the field as there are on mine before the effect is activated. So with it my dragon disappears for one turn, but your 2 monsters are destroyed. He said as the cloak frowned and clenched its fists. But that you activate both my Desric and my Vilipin's effects. If either of the roulettes land on 3 your monster is destroyed, it said as Naruto smirked and shrugged his shoulders before pointing to the roulettes. Spin the roulette. I trust my dragon and my luck, which when things come down to it, I'm told I have the luck of the devil, he said as he watched the 2 roulettes spin. His nerves immediately went away as the roulettes landed on 2 and 6. And with that, legendary Dragon of Starlight. Destroy his monsters with Star Shower Passing. He said as another overlay unit went into number 60's chest and a majestic light burst from it, destroying the 2 Archfiends and leaving only Vanguard of the Dragon on his field. Now Vanguard of the Dragon attacked directly. He said as the dragon charged and slashed the figure for 2000 points of damage, c 2700-700. Unless you have something up your sleeve, it looks like you are finished next turn, Naruto said as the figure clenched its fists and started to tremble once it drew its card. I will not be denied. You will be devoured whether you win or lose. It yelled as it tried to run at him, only for the spirit of Utopia to appear and stab down its blade to stop the figure from advancing. No, I will not be. Either make a move or end your turn, Naruto said, as with Utopia's protection, he didn't need to worry about it trying to get to him or the girls nearby. It didn't answer, but the sight of number 60 returning was all he needed for an answer. I don't know where you came from, he said as he drew a card before his dragon roared with one remaining overlay unit orbiting it, but I'm erasing you so you will leave us alone. Number 60. Legendary Dragon of Starlight. Attack it directly with Starlight Jet Stream. Naruto yelled as his dragon let out a mighty roar before it took a deep breath and let out a massive blast that left nothing behind as the life points dropped to 0. You have not seen the last of the shadows. We will return. Others will come. You will fall. And your power will be ours. It yelled before number 60's attack destroyed it and left nothing behind. Naruto let out a sigh of relief as the shadowy area around them faded before he looked to Utopia and Starlight. Thanks everyone for helping me out again, Naruto said as both Utopia and Starlight nodded with the faint ghost of Leviathan doing the same before they all faded, and he rushed over to Alexis and Serenity. First thing he did was check their pulses to see if they were still breathing or alive, and as he felt they were fine, he let out another sigh of relief. Now how to get you both out of here, he thought before he carefully picked them up, draping each over one of his shoulders, before carefully holding onto their waists as he made his way out of the dorm. Boy, am I thankful I'm strong enough to carry them out, or things would have been tricky, he thought as he gently laid the two girls down on the grass outside the dorm before dialing Momo. Momo, tell Junko and the others I found Alexis, we are outside the abandoned dorm. Also find my sister, tell her it's an emergency, and for her to come with a first aid kit, tell her not to let anyone know, he said before he hung up and sat against a nearby tree as he could see his vision becoming blurry from exhaustion. This really isn't good. That dorm is definitely the cause for the missing students, but whatever they summoned had to be a lot stronger than what I fought. A part of me feels my presence here stirred up that small spirit. I just hope nothing else awakens, or the others it mentioned don't show up for a long while, he thought, as he felt his eyes droop before he was jolted away as Murahin and the others showed up. Naruto. Are you okay? I heard it was an emergency. Murahin said as Naruto stopped her from hugging him. Not now, check on Alexis and Serenity, they were captured by a dark spirit that I just finished beating in a shadow game, he said, as Murahin's eyes widened at the mention of a shadow game, as it was something they both knew was real, especially after their father had been possessed by the Millennium Eye in the past and had started shadow games of his own back on Duelist Kingdom. Right, but then I am checking on you, she said before going over to the two girls as Junko and Momo worried about Alexis and Serenity. What happened to them? Why aren't they waking up? Momo asked as Cirrus helped Naruto stand up. They were captured by a dark spirit hiding out in the dorm that I had to duel in a shadow game. I won, but they will take a bit to wake up. I suggest bringing them to the Slifer Red dorm, Ms. Hibiki will probably allow it, and Murahin can vouch to allow Alexis to be there if she needs to stay overnight, he said as Murahin nodded. Ayada, you take Serenity, I'll get Alexis. Everyone be careful and follow me, Murahin said as she'd rather not endanger the students from being expelled as she and Naruto were allowed to be here, but the others were not. Right, I'll be careful, Hayato said as he gently picked up Serenity before Murahin picked up Alexis and Cirrus helped Naruto be able to walk the way back to Slifer Red. Once there, thankfully Ms. Hibiki didn't ask any questions and allowed the others to use Serenity's room and a spare third floor room for the girls. She even helped tend to Serenity while Murahin worked on Alexis. Naruto though was forced to wait for her outside as he sat against the wall in between the two rooms so he could be checked out after them. Good news, Murahin said as she walked out of the room to his right. Alexis woke up for a bit. We were able to tell her a bit of what happened before she passed out, she said before Ms. Hibiki walked out as well. Same with Serenity, Cirrus conveyed the message you told him to tell her, and while I don't quite believe this shadow game story I can't question it, I will though keep quiet about the abandoned dorm, she said before Naruto smiled up at her. Thank you so much Ms. Hibiki, really means a lot, he said as the Slifer Red dorm head smiled back down at him. Anything for my students. Now I will be staying with Serenity through the night, Momo and Junko are staying with Alexis, so no need to worry anymore, so that means that now you can get looked over, she said before Murahin gently helped him up to his feet. Fine, I can relax knowing they are okay at least, he said as Murahin walked him down to his room before capturing him in a tight hug once the door was closed behind them. I am so glad you are okay, I don't know what father or I would do if we lost you, she said as he could feel her crying into his shirt with her voice cracking slightly. I'm sorry but I had to, he said as he hugged her back. The spirit had called me Star Child, do you think it has something to do with my cards? He asked as she gently pulled away with a frown. I don't know as not much are known about them given that you kind of created them, she said as she and only a very select few of others like their father, Yugimoto, Kaiba, and the few who were there when Naruto ended up making them. Naruto himself didn't remember much of when it happened, but according to his dad when he arrived at the room where they kept the card blanks, which he was being brought to so his father could show him how duel monsters were made, something had happened to him. He had started to walk towards the center of the room, and once he touched a large stack of cellophane-wrapped blanks, an energy pulse had burst out from him. Cards had started to float all around him from various stacks, orbiting him as Pegasus recalled the blanks being transformed into the cards he knew and used now. He created an immense number of monsters, spells, and traps, as well as the Ziz monsters. Pegasus had also noted how a small number of cards had almost formed a dome around him before falling neatly all around him. Those cards would later be known as the numbers, which turned out to be very picky in terms of who they allowed to even hold them. It took a while to figure out what the cards were or how they worked, but once they did, Kaiba helped them put them somewhere safe, somewhere no one would ever get their hands on them, while setting up the pathway for him to teleport them into his duel disk. I know still little to nothing is known to how I made them, I just hope something could maybe be made clearer with it, he said before Murahin helped sit him down on the edge of his bed. I know, I'll tell father about it tomorrow as he'll be worried as well. I'll ask if he remembers anything. For now I want you to rest, you're probably utterly exhausted from everything you went through, she said as she gently guided him over to his bed, where after a quick look over, let him lay down on and rest. I'll come by first thing in the morning, and I'll call dad in a bit, you rest for now as it's getting late, she said, as Naruto could already feel himself drifting off the second he laid down on the bed and his head hit the pillow. Okay night Murahin, he said as she ruffled his hair with a smile. Night Naru, she said with a smile as she was glad that her brother was safe and healthy after the ordeal. She didn't know what trouble he might attract to him due to his Ziz monsters, but she knew with them he hopefully could handle it. Next morning. Naruto groaned in his sleep as he heard a pounding at his door and the loud stomps of feet throughout the dorm. God damn it, I swear I'm not in the mood for whatever this is about, he grumbled to himself as he walked over to the door to see a woman with short fluffy black hair in a green Duel Academy uniform with a beret and cap. He also noticed men behind her in the same uniform with glasses on to make them look more intimidating. Who are you and why are you being so loud? He groaned out as he rubbed the sleep out of his eyes as the woman frowned at him. Are you Naruto Crawford? Son of Maximilian Pegasus and brother of Murahin? She asked, her tone stern as Naruto nodded. Yes, now why are you here? He asked as two men came up to her. Alexis Rhodes and Serenity Wheeler have been acquired and ready for transport, one said as Naruto narrowed his eyes and stepped forward towards them. What did you do to them? They are still weak and need to rest, he said as the woman didn't even bat an eye at him. Naruto Crawford, you as well as the two others are being taken to the inquiry board for questioning, and this isn't something you can say no to. You have 5 minutes to get dressed, otherwise we are dragging out of here by force, she said before turning around and leaving two men behind, undoubtedly to make sure he didn't try and run. Great, what a wonderful way to wake up, he thought with a groan as he knew he could flash his PDA to excuse himself, but that would leave Alexis and Serenity defenseless against the inquiry board. It didn't take long for him to get dressed, grabbing his dual disc and PDA, before he came out of his room and was escorted to the back of one of the 3 trucks. Naruto. They got you too? Serenity asked as he walked up to her and Alexis. Yeah, and can't say I don't know why they grabbed us, but right now I'm just glad to see you two awake and okay, he said with a smile, as the 2 girls smiled across from him. Thank you for saving us, I still can't believe that all happened, Alexis said as she had been briefly conscious when the thing placed her into the coffin and she still had chills from feeling it grab her. Same here, but I can't say it isn't the first time I've seen something like that, but it was my first time dueling in one, he said, as the girls understood what he meant, but he didn't want to let the others around them know what they were talking about. I'm sorry I got pulled into it, I kind of followed you when you headed off and was confused of where you were headed, but that led to me getting caught, Serenity said with a frown before he waved her off. It isn't your fault. I feel it would have tried to grab you regardless. I'm just glad you two are safe, but don't worry, I'll get us out of this, he said as they nodded before they sat back and waited for them to arrive wherever they were heading towards. Once the truck stopped, the others inside the truck were quick to escort them to a large room with 3 massive monitors in front of them in a half circle. Naruto stood between Alexis and Serenity as the screens turned on to show the faces of Chancellor Shepard, Crowler, and the woman from before looking down on them. You 3 have been brought before the inquiry board to determine the implementation of your expulsion for breaking the rules of Duel Academy, she said as Naruto narrowed his eyes. Really? What rule did we break exactly? He asked as he crossed his arms with a frown. Last night Naruto Crawford was seen entering the special dorm and later seen exiting with Alexis Rhodes and Serenity Wheeler in tow. It is well known that it is forbidden to enter as the dorm was closed off and made off limits, she said as Naruto stepped forward. "Oh, I'm sorry, my friends got kidnapped by a dark spirit to lure me into a shadow game." Naruto yelled as Chancellor Shepard widened his eyes. "Wait, you were pulled into a shadow game?" Shepard asked as Crowler scoffed. "There are no such things as shadow games," Crowler said in a dismissive tone as Naruto glared at him. "There isn't, I was in one. Plus if you pull up my file you will see I was given top access by Chancellor Shepard to investigate the dorm with permission by Seto Kaiba and my father. Well, inside I found stone tablets along the walls detailing the Millennium items and undoubtedly shadow game instructions. Plus there is a cave attached to the inside of the dorm that is the creepiest room I've ever seen, that just screams ritual room," he said as Crowler frowned, but Shepard nodded. Naruto was indeed asked to investigate as Seto Kaiba and Maximilian Pegasus both acclaimed he was best suited for it. "If his words are true then I hereby drop all charges against them," the Chancellor said as the woman to his side nodded with a bit of a frown. "Fine, then I know." Crowler interrupted the woman with a glare. "I refuse to believe such baseless lies and punishment of some kind must be done, as while Naruto has permission the other two do not. I am willing to give Alexis a pass, but the Slifer I cannot," Crowler said as Naruto narrowed his eyes at the man and stomped his foot. "What part of they were captured by a spirit against their will do you not understand? The against their will part or the captured by a spirit part? You might not have dealt with shadow games before, but they are true, and I've seen them before," he said as he clenched his fist before glaring up at him. "If you seriously want to punish them, or just Serenity as you have a bias against Slifers, then how about we make a deal? You make a challenge for me and if I lose you then punish me as well as whoever you are gunning at all, but if I win I get to decide whether you are fired or not," he said as he was normally a calm guy, but when someone clearly was gunning for others it wasn't something he could let happen. What? You dare?" Crowler said, shocked that a mere student was talking to him like this. "Crowler except Shepard," said as Crowler looked over with wide eyes before coughing into his fist. Fine. It will be a punishment tag duel with you and Serenity Wheeler as partners. If you lose Serenity is expelled and you are forced into Obelisk with your duel disc confiscated to force you to duel with common cards all year," Crowler said as Naruto knew what he was doing. He was trying to rid any distractions from around, getting him into Obelisk like he wanted, but also crippling him for the fired comment. "Bring it, me and Serenity will defeat anyone you send our way," Naruto said with a glare as Crowler smirked. "Your opponents will be made public by me at a later time so be ready," Crowler said before the screens turned off. "Naruto. Hey, are you sure you want to put yourself in this position? I mean I'll just drag you down," Serenity said as Naruto smiled at her. "If it's to save either one of you I'd do all I can to ensure you aren't kicked out for something you had no control of. I swear we'll win this and I'll give Crowler a piece of my mind," he said as Alexis nodded. "Naruto wouldn't let you down just like how he fought to save us both, despite being able to tell the green coats his approval beforehand. He could have escaped this ordeal but went with it for us. All you got to do is train together and I'm certain it'll be fine, I'll help as well since I owe you both that much," Alexis said with a smile as Naruto patted Serenity on the back. "So don't worry, we'll get through this. I promise," he said as he felt he could work well with Serenity against whatever challengers Crowler was planning for. Last thing he wanted was for Serenity to get singled out by Crowler and that drive would ensure he wouldn't let them lose. Chapter end. What if Naruto is the son of Pegasus Yugioh? End here and thanks for watching my video till the end.